Yeah. All
So,
right. We are live with a guy, a girl, and a movie. And welcome to episode 4, where me and Janet are discussing a movie from 1985, I believe, called Just One of the Guys. It's got Joyce Heiser, William Zabka, and quite a few other people that are involved with this movie. And it's not my typical movie that I would go for. I'm not gonna lie. But I've got to say it is a different movie. But I've got it is a different film, and I, I'm not upset about it. I'm not saying how dare this movie exist. No, but this is when I was writing the description, I had a hard time trying not to say it's a quirky little movie, and I hate the word quirky. I I needed something to not sound quirky. So I like 6 times I'm trying to find a word for whatever, and then I put quirky in the description. All
well,
right,
it is kind of quirky.
Janet, what was your first exposure to this film?
I'm trying to remember for sure. I think about it in that way. Uh, I wasn't. I didn't go to the movie theater to see it. I saw it on. I can't remember. I think it was one of those betas videos or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was at my one of my sister's houses, and we watched it with some popcorn and stuff. And I laughed my butt off. I thought it was really funny. If that shows how warped I am, I guess it shows how warped I am. But I really did like it. I thought it was really funny, and I fell in love with the character of Buddy. I can't remember what the actor's name is. I got it written down here. His name was Billy Jane, the actor
Yeah,
that played Buddy, and I just loved him. He was my standout character from the movie that I took away from it because I didn't have a brother, and if I could have had a brother, God, I wish I could have. He could have been him because I just loved his character.
like I think the worst part about the movie is the DVD box or VHS box that it had because I'll let me share this real quick. I don't want to share too much of it because apparently people get butthurt. Oh my God, you're sharing content. Ah.
Oh yeah.
This right here, when I saw this at the video store, I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, what's that about? My mom took this out of my hands a lot.
Oh,
You
she
got,
wouldn't like watch it.
yeah. I never watched it until this weekend, ever.
Well, I'm shocked because most people I've talked to um, that were, I don't know, into movies and stuff have seen that movie, especially comedy.
It is a
I
different.
think you're one of the only people I've met that hadn't seen it.
Well,
So,
it's kind of out of left field for the most part because 85 John Carpenter had started doing some really good 80s classics by this time, but
hmm.
Chris Columbus hadn't really hit his stride yet. He'd done a couple, but the movie really made me remind myself of the Mary Stuart Masterson role from Some Kind of Wonderful.
Hmm.
It had a real like this is what Chris Columbus watched, and then he made that movie with Eric Stoltz and her
Yeah.
because there's a lot of it in there, I think.
Well,
And
he had that. He had that romance Their little romance stuff that came out. Lots of little romance movies came out in the 80s and early 90s, from what I can remember, because I wasn't really into romance. And I, when I watched this, I saw it more from a comedy point of view than I thought about romance. So my sister loved it because she said it was so romantic. So there you go. You got two sisters and two different points of view on the direction of what they thought the movie was going to go in.
Hey, Norman Target is there.
Hello, everybody. I can't read the chat because I have a really hard time switching back and forth and not messing up my.
I'll put the I'll put this just in the chat window. I'll click through the comments. Travis says he watched it for the first time on HBO, which it would have been good on HBO. I bet you it had a lot of viewers on HBO.
Yeah, this TV I watched it on, I can't remember. It was one of those. It was an expensive TV that my sister had, but it was a big square, and I can't remember the name of it, but it was like a square TV that sat on the ground like a console television. And I can't remember the name of it, but that's what I watched it on. So if I could have watched it for the first time, like at the movie theater, I think I would have really got into it even more. And, you know, the sounds, the music, and different things like that, I think would have been better. But I got to watch it, you know, on a TV, and it was nice. I mean, I thought the movie was hilarious.
Yeah, Baron Orman Tog in the chat, along with Baron G Rock. Hey, Baron G Rock, will you do me a favor and put a link in the chat for Baron Orman Tog? That way he can get his own actual Baron paperwork from Scotland. Baron's got this thing where he owns like a square foot in Scotland. So he's actually a Baron. I gotta say the movie surprised me on a lot of levels, but I knew I was going to be getting some familiar vibes. You told me, oh, not Scotland. Baron says it is not Scotland. Oh, Clan Anderson for Ormond Okay. The movie made me think so much of just what the 80s is. And it gives you this just shoved in the face, you're stuffed in the locker, and you see not only see parachute pants in this movie a lot, but the pants that William Zabka is wearing in this movie made me disappointed in him as a man. George is here. Hello,
yeah,
George.
That was the hardest part for me when I rewatched it, was the fact that it dated it so much because of the clothing everyone was wearing. But the high school, the way people acted in high school and stuff, to me didn't age it at all, because I didn't see that much difference in high school, the way it was in here as it was, you know, when I went to high school, or any other people nowadays, from stories that I've heard about going to high school, about bullies and, you know, dressing the right clothes and hanging with the hip girls or the jocks or the nerds, that kind of stuff. Now, the two squiggly guys that carried that were like glued at the hip, I can't remember the two actors, but the one actor, I remembered his face and stuff, but the other one I couldn't replace him. But those two weirdos, I think they just added the extra weirdness because the movie was really stupid, you know, the whole concept behind of it. But I thought they were funny on the side, so it kind of gave you funny, goofy stupidness on the side of the other comedic stuff that was going on there, which I liked. But you don't see that anymore. You know, you don't see that over the top, dummy, you know, dumbness. And I don't think they would even do it. I don't even think they'd make this movie today.
They probably would not be able to do it.
Yeah, because of the idea of a girl being a guy for a comic value would never fly today. It just would never.
No.
Everyone would take it the wrong. Well, not everyone, but almost half the people would take it the wrong way, even though it's supposed to be comedy. You know, I just don't know what's going to happen to comedy anymore, because it just seems like you can't do anything without offending somebody. even when it's just for fun. So
And that's something we will definitely talk about later on in the film. The sober Irishman says there's a funny Ralph Macchio reference in the movie, if I remember correctly. And indeed, yes, there's a huge moment where they make a Ralph Macchio joke at William Zabka's expense because he's right there, and his girlfriend says he looks like Ralph Macchio. Hey, LDG. LDG says I'm offended when you try not to offend me. You wait.
yeah, the scene where what was I don't have the girl's name, the actress that played the girl that was attracted to Terry Griffith. Um,
Yes, William Zabka's girlfriend at the start of the movie.
when she's talking to her other friend at school, and she says he's got the look of a Karate Kid and some other kid guy, and she says I want him, or I'm gonna get him, or something like that. So I thought that was cute, but I really did think she was adorable as a guy, and I thought she was beautiful as a woman, so or a young woman.
Yeah,
So
she
really
sold
good
it
at
as a
both
young
characters
lady.
to me as a woman, or yeah, as a woman watching it. I thought she did really good. I thought she was believable. But the scene, the scene that I just couldn't stop laughing from was when she fools her brother when he comes to the door, when she rings the doorbell and he's like, Terry, it's for you. And then she goes in the house and tells him that uh it says, look at me. And he goes, what are you doing? Or whatever, making fun of her. And then she says, that she's going to dress up as a guy to try to win that thing, and then he tells her that's when he's trying to show her how to act like a guy. Can I
Yes,
pull this off? That scene, and
yes.
he's talking about as let me see. I had a note here. Hold on, I wrote it down. Um, let's see, where is it? Oh, he said, darn it, where is it? Hold on, can't
It's the
find
start of the
it.
movie when the brother's trying to help out his sister walk, talk, act like a guy.
Yeah, I got it. I found it now. This part, he says, the part I wrote down, it says that watching her juggle her boyfriend and keeping her sex change a secret from everyone is hilarious. And when her brother tries to show her how to act like a guy by showing her how to scratch her balls, and he says, watch the master. Now, first, there's your basic shift. Okay. And then he grabs himself and he adjusts it or whatever. And then he says, but that's not always enough. Sometimes it says you got to get inside and dig a little, let some air in, move things around. the stuff that scene was so funny because I could almost picture myself standing there and having my brother um, do that for me. And I don't know how they finished that scene without everyone laughing their ass off, because I just thought he was so funny in that scene, and her too, when she said, my balls don't itch. Then she shoves a pair of socks down her pants, and I just thought that scene was adorable. I just absolutely love that scene.
I've never stuffed. I've never stuffed a sock down my pants before. I mean, I'm not saying I'm gifted, but I'm just saying that I think that was like the early part of Generation X,
Well,
like the
maybe, I don't
94.
know. I never had a brother, but I can tell you right now that I had friends that stuffed socks in their bras. So, to me as a girl, when I saw it, as a teenager, I thought, wow, I believed it. I believe that maybe guys do stuff socks in their pants. I mean, I didn't know if they did or not, but like that scene right there, the picture you're showing,
Yes.
she looks like a boy. She looks like a teenage boy or a young boy to me. She could pass as a boy, dressed very, expensively.
She that scene right there where she gets the jock strap, that caused a big laugh out of me. I probably shouldn't have laughed as much, but for me that was probably my moment where I probably laughed the hardest. Either that or the moment you just described, where the brother is showing her how to do proper etiquette with the balls. Because there is an art to being able to play with your balls without touching them and making it apparent. Look, I'm pulling the chicken wing flap out. Just
I guess.
there's an art to doing it.
But that whole scene, and the girl that plays her best friend, she was adorable.
Tony Hudson, she has not changed at all.
Yeah, but she did such a good job when she said, "Okay, I'll be your date. It's the best offer I've gotten," or whatever. It was hilarious because girls really do talk about stupid shit like that. Believe it or not.
Oh yeah.
I'm not saying going as my getting my best friend to go as my date, but I mean just goofy shit that they talked about was like basically the same stupid stuff that I remember talking about in school. Yeah, she's gorgeous.
Yeah, she's kind of like another person I know who might be a certain age, but she doesn't look it.
And she takes good care of herself, and that's important. And I always tell people that please eat right and try to take care of yourself because you can have a good, healthy, long life if you take care of yourself. But look at how pretty she was in that.
Yeah, that was in the movie Nothing in Common with I believe director Gary Marshall.
She's really pretty.
Mary
Steenburgen. I love some of her movies.
Yep, Cross Creek.
Yeah, I recognized her.
Knight Rider when she was on.
Never saw that one.
Gentlemen, don't fear getting older. Just fear the count. And you know what I mean when I say the count. Keep your count up.
What's your count?
Your testosterone count. You want to keep.
Well, how do you do that?
Eat right, exercise, try to be limber, stretch.
Yeah, I can bend over and touch my toes. I put my hands flat on the ground.
Artificial stimulation.
I'm in pretty good shape.
Keep it going. Try to have an active sex life.
That's not possible for everyone.
I know.
Oh, that's a gorgeous picture right there.
Yeah, and she's like 58 years old right there.
Wow, she looks good.
That's why I tell men, like, listen, take care of yourself. If your love life goes to shit, it's not over. You're not dead. There's still people.
The only bad thing is, as gorgeous as she is, I bet there's guys in their early 50s, late 40s, and maybe even 60 that would say, "Oh, she's too old." Because they want a 21-year-old hanging on their arm.
They want something like that's like fertile and gonna give them a screaming mess.
But then they say they don't want to have kids, but they want a young bimbo on their arm.
A young bimbo on their arms that's not going to be putting out children. It's like, that's pathetic, dude. Just get yourself a nice lady.
That's why
get a lady removed.
Try to be friends, make friends, because if you fall in love with your best friend, that's the best thing.
Yeah, if you can handle that.
Love her shoes. Yeah. Sorry. They're cute. She's a singer?
I don't know if she's a singer or not.
It looked like she had a Grammy in her hand.
I think she does.
So that's for singing, but
let's see. I don't see any soundtrack. Okay, let's click over here for a full bio because I don't see a trivia. She was married to Dirk Benedict, one of my favorite actors of all time. Let's see.
What was he in? I'm trying to remember who he is.
Dirk Benedict was in the movie Ruckus, and he was the first Starbuck in Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, okay. All right. Now
things like A-Team, but he was Starbuck. I like Battlestar Galactica better than the A-Team. I'm not sorry. She gave birth to her third son at the age of 44 by her third husband, Judd Tyler Mintz.
I don't know. No.
I don't know who that guy is. But, I mean, it's kind of interesting. I mean, she's got a lot of cred. I'll just go through her filmography. 27 pieces of acting work starting in 82 with
filmmaking stuff too.
Yeah. Yeah, she's still doing stuff. I mean, there's no reason why she shouldn't be making stuff. And if she's on the next 24, they're doing post production right now. If she's on the next 24, I wonder if she's going to be a love interest for Kiefer Sutherland. If they
Maybe.
wrote, just saying. Anyway, yeah, she was in this movie and she was amazing. And the very end of the film, she kind of had her luck change a bit, of course, because it's the third act and your best friend has to hook up with somebody. So she got involved with the
The band
guitarist.
member.
Yep.
Am I sounding okay, or am I having feedback, or what?
I don't hear any feedback on your end.
Okay.
I haven't checked chat here for a second. Let me check chat. Travis tells me you never see a lion limber up before he attacks. No, because a lion and tiger are stretching like 30 to 60 times a day. That's just part of their routine. If you own a cat, you get to watch that too. But it's all the same. She has been in a lot of stuff. She was in the movie. This is Joyce Heiser, and she's in the movie. This is Spinal Tap. One of my favorite movies of all time when I feel like getting depressed because that movie depresses the shit out of me. I know too many friends that got in a rocker life. I was a roadie for a little bit for a couple summers, and that movie hits too close to home.
Well, I was boring, so I didn't do any of that stuff.
Well, I had a spirit of adventure in me for quite a while. She's in a movie called Greedy in 1994. And there she is. There's a scene in this movie. If you guys haven't seen this film, if you don't want to watch it, get a Mr. Skin account. But I was pleasantly surprised. I'm like, oh wow, oh
You
wow.
talking about the scene at towards the very end where she shows all
Yeah, she shows them.
and she bears them?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
thought like,
she had a nice rack, and I'm a woman.
yeah, I mean, like my wife criticizes like some actresses because that work is too obvious. But I'm pretty certain my wife would be happy with that. She's like, those are nice.
Yeah, she looked like she had some nice ones.
Yeah,
And,
and I mean,
but she was young too. I mean, the
it
hard
can be hot when you're
grab
young.
and taking them away from you as you get older.
Yeah, I'm
But I
watching it
guess
right
guys
now.
have the same problem, don't they?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you saw a photo of me from way back in like the 90s and you see me now, you're like, Bruce, you're
Low
viewing the mirror,
fruit.
dude. What the fuck happened to you? That's because I went to the gym after work and I would do stupid acts of muscularity testing, and I would run. And nowadays, fleet manager, and don't really want to go and do all that after work. Want to come home and paint figurines and get on YouTube and challenge YouTube for their stupid, idiotic theories. Because if you don't agree with their narrative, they give you a warning before they give you community strikes.
Yeah, do you think that we can get Elon Musk to buy YouTube after he's done with Twitter?
I'm actually kind of hoping he buys Coca-Cola first.
Oh yeah, I saw that when he said he put cocaine back into Coca-Cola.
Yeah,
Yeah, her name was Cheryl Flynn, the actress that says that he looks like the Karate Kid.
yes, Sherry Lynn Finn.
Yes,
No, my bad. Sarah Lynn, the
Cheryl Lynn Finn. That's her name.
she is kind of famous on her own right.
Yeah, she's been in a lot of stuff too.
Yeah, she's been in a ton of things.
But the part that I thought was really mean was the part where um, her character sets up her little tiny niece or cousin or whatever up on a double date.
Yes,
That was mean. That was terrible. That shouldn't have happened.
she wanted action. I can
I know,
understand.
but still, I didn't think that was nice. I would never have done that to a friend of mine.
I tell you what, I've set up many friends of mine because there are some times where you have good friends and you like each other's company, but then there's a season or two where your friendship is tested because you don't see eye to eye. I wish I had a full.
So you screw them over? Is
You
that
don't
what you?
really screw them over, but you kind of like tell them like, listen, don't ask for too much because I'll give things to you, and you won't like the result. Like one of my best friends, we went on vacation together in on the coast of Texas, and I was expecting one thing, she was expecting another, and neither of us got what we wanted. And it was just like I think that killed our friendship. I talked to her last time in 2015. Yeah, yeah. And then 6 months later, when my actual best friend Chuck, fresh out of a divorce, just watched his dad go into stage 4 cancer. He's like, I got to come down. My dad's pushing daisies as of yesterday morning. Like, okay, here's your date. You're going to be down here on this flight. I'll see you there. And we spent a week on a river walk, and like we've had our disagreements, but like that week there, like all the times we've ever had, like I felt like I had a brother because literally from sun up to sundown till we were tired of walking and boozing and whoring. I had a friend that like, and I probably spent maybe $6,000 in about 8 days.
Oh my God. What
I've
did
never
you
done
drain
it
your
since.
savings? You drained your savings account just so you spend it on hookers and booze?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I hope it was worth it. That's a lot of money.
God, it was fun. I wanted to. I was in the oil field at the time, so that money was replenished on a frequent basis, and I didn't have any real issues. And then later that fall, the barrel dropped to $40 a barrel, and some people got laid off, and I got moved to Midland with a $30,000 a year bump in pay. And I'm like, oh wow, this is great. And then for about another 12 months, we held on to our jobs, and then they let us all go.
Oh, I'm sorry
That
about
well, I mean, that's the oil field. That's the oil field. Gentlemen, ladies, if you are seeing this, this is why you started watching the movie. And if you're a guy, you see these two pretty things right here, and you're like, I'm gonna watch this movie. Because her with a full head of hair, she's great looking. You don't even see this down here. That shirt totally destroys femininity with this outfit and that pose.
I don't see any picture.
Right?
Are you sharing a picture?
I was my bad.
That's all right. I was like, I'm trying to figure out what you're talking about. Sorry.
All right, let me go back to here. Oh, nope, 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 nope. Yep, there we go. This picture right here, when you start the movie, you get this.
Mm-hmm.
And she's talking, Joyce Heiser is talking about how she is so butthurt about how she's not being taken seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And in the 1980s, you have a whole bunch of movies where women aren't being valued for being contributing members to their society or their work culture. You have the movie 9 to 5 with Dabney Coleman's best role, in my opinion.
Yeah, I love that movie. That was funny.
Yeah, you have a
Best
few other
Whorehouse,
films. Go
Texas.
ahead. Say
My
again?
mom loved that movie.
Best Whorehouse in Texas. Yes.
She loved Burt Reynolds.
I love Burt
See
Reynolds' mustache.
Carrie's hair right there. It looks to me like she's wearing a wig. Her hair's already cut short. But she looked adorable with her hair short.
She does.
And I had a haircut almost like that, the short hairstyle, when I was in high school. I think that's why my mom thought I might be on the wrong side of the fence. But I didn't put up with all this crap, but all the other girls did.
This guy right here, as a teen or early 20 something, is not a handsome dude. In my opinion, like he did not start off well. He is a ugly duckling, in my opinion. We'll go
Yeah,
to what he looks like today.
I didn't think he was that attractive in the show, but it wasn't the attraction. She liked him because of who he was and what he was into, and he
Exactly.
was himself. And I like that part of the movie too, is the fact that um, you don't have to be a knockdown, drag out, gorgeous guy to get a decent woman. You're just like the brother, Buddy. I mean,
Yeah.
he wasn't a punk either, but
Now,
he had a great personality. He was funny and he's witty.
and
And
that the movie he's with our favorite muse, Sherry Lynn Fenn.
yeah,
She's been in a few films. She was in of Mice and Men. I remember that. Dillinger. She was in Ruby. Oh my god. Yeah, she's been in a lot of films.
yeah, that's
This
what I said. The whole cast, there was so many people. They were starting out, the youngsters, but they were there was a lot of good actors in this. Even the guy that played the bully, I love him on Karate Kid and on the Cobra Kai. I think he's awesome.
I don't think he's acted this well until he hit Cobra Kai. When William Zabka started Cobra Kai, a lot of people got woke up to him because they just saw him as a thug or a bully or a hired
Well,
gun.
because that's what he always got picked for, for job.
I don't
Oh,
need to keep stepping to me. I'm
Helen's
sorry.
in the chat. I just saw something pop up. Hi, Helen. Thank you
Tell
for
it.
in. That Janet chick is kind of cool. Yes, I am. Oh, but see how cute she is with that haircut? Mine
Yeah,
was a little longer than that, but I did have short haircut like that.
I never destroyed a bottle of
16,
hairspray for that.
but I cut it because my sister did it. She cut it with I hate to say it, but she I told her I wanted my hair trim, and she got pinking shears out and cut it. You know what pinking shears are?
No.
Okay, they had the zigzag pattern on them
Oh God.
to
Oh,
decorate stuff. And after that, my mom was like, "Oh my god!" So she had to take me to the beauty shop and get it fixed. But I won't go into why I cut it off. But she looks like a guy. I mean, she looks like a young, handsome man to
she
me.
does. The only
I thought
problem with
she did a
this,
great job.
her shoulders are too narrow, and she does have a soft chin. But I mean,
Yeah, but I've met a lot of guys that have soft chins and they're smaller than other, big hulking type of men.
yeah.
So that wouldn't have made me go, "Oh, he's not a girl," or "He's not a guy. He's really a woman." But that's what she said in the movie. Remember when she said that she went to school her first day, she got thrown in the briars and picked
Mhm.
on and all that stuff, but everybody thought she was a boy, so that's all that mattered. Nobody thought they thought she was a dweeb, but they didn't think she was a woman. So that's good. And the handsome hunk that played her boyfriend, wow, he was cutie pie.
I'm
Kevin,
sorry. I
yeah,
see this
Kevin.
this hair, the Sherry
That's an
Lynn.
80 hairstyle for sure.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I get like I really love that hairstyle. I mean, there was a lot of girls I went to school with that I had a crush on for a month or two at a time, and that was the hairstyle they had. You know who she reminds me of here?
Terry
Ellen,
Hatcher.
Ellen Ripley, but Terry Hatcher would be better.
Yeah, that's who she reminded me of when I saw her with that haircut. Because I had a haircut like that too as mine grew out.
That
Uh,
that makes me laugh so much.
Buddy's character, I just loved him, especially when Kevin shows up and he's like, "Where is she?" When she went to the prom, and he's like, "You gotta wait. It's kind of formal."
Yeah.
He goes upstairs and comes down with a tuxedo t-shirt on. I
Yeah.
thought that was so funny. And I love this outfit she's got on right now too. Even though it's, dated, but on her it looked great. I loved all her little skirts and stuff.
She's just a very attractive lady. I mean, she's got a very classic look to her.
Yeah, she's very pretty.
I love this scene when those two were doing that, checking her out. I thought, like, yeah, that I've done that a couple times. I remember that at the mall. Remember we used to go to mall, kids. Remember the mall? Remember we go do stuff and buy stuff at the mall? Yeah, I miss the
I,
90s.
I thought those pants were adorable, though. The black and white pants that girl's wearing right there. Those were cute. I'd wear them. I'd wear them right now. I think they're adorable. But I love black and white. It's to mix together. I think black and white's really pretty. Or it could be handsome, I guess. Now, see that he's wearing with the belt like that and that off the shoulder thing. That's totally let's get physical. Olivia Newton-John.
Yeah,
Definitely. There you go.
there's a shot for the ladies. There you go.
And he goes, "What are you looking at?" She goes, "Nothing." I thought that was awesome. I thought that was hilarious. See, I remember a lot of the scenes. But he's hot. I mean, he's a very good looking guy. I can see why they pick him as the jock.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I've seen that stare too many times with my friends. The soul has left the body.
Yeah, it's like, oh, life is over.
Yep.
I've seen that shirt before, black and white shirt in some other movie or something, because it looked so familiar. And I kept saying, who have I seen wearing that before somewhere else? But I get my finger on it.
This is 85, because, yeah, it's about the same time that Born in the USA came out with Bruce Springsteen. And I've had friends, they had that giraffe before. I've seen a lot of this artwork in other people's not so glamorous homes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very nice house, that's for sure. But they had to make her have a little more money because they had to have her have a nice car so she could drive herself to school. And they also had to have 2 kids that are on their own because their parents are off on a vacation for 2 weeks. So they had to have money. You couldn't do that with some people that lived in a trailer or something.
Getting along.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a splendid daddy. I need to do this right.
But his room filled with all the centerfold stuff, I thought that was fun. Heck. All the naked girls in his room. I bet you can't show that, can you? Or would you get in trouble?
I got in trouble for just holding the video box at the store.
No, I'm talking about you two. Would you get in trouble if you showed his room?
Oh yeah, I'd get in major
about
trouble.
the one girl that liked Vonnegut.
Yeah.
And hated toxic waste.
Yeah, this one is Deborah Goodrich.
Yeah.
And she played the absolutely empty-headed pretty girlfriend to the T.
Yeah, the jocks girl.
Yeah.
I remember a lot of them in high school.
I was really surprised this movie didn't make it. But it didn't get talked about. My social circles, like I had friends that they were scene people. They gobbled up every John Hughes movie they could. They tried everything they could to make their life like what they saw in movies, which was pretty empty, mind you. And this movie never got talked about by them.
I remember when my sister pulled the that box out of her cabinet, for us to watch that movie, and we're watching it, and I kept saying, when are the football players going to be in a scene? I never saw one football player.
Yeah, the only thing you get is William Zabka shirtless.
That's it. The rest of them were all like, now he was cute, this guy. What was his name? Lee McCall. Yep. He played Kevin. Yes. Yeah, and he was cute. The thing is, towards the end, I kind of got creeped out by him.
He does turn into a creep.
Well, the thing is, he's at a prom. He's in college, and he's waiting to pick up some chick from the prom.
Yeah,
that was kind of like, that's low, and I would have ran the other way.
Yeah, he's after he gets told like no, he's like, well, my Friday night's open. Anybody free?
Yeah, 2 teenage girls at a prom that could be, 2 grades under a senior.
14.
So, there's that scene, a couple of hot chicks in it in the background. Yeah. Hey, I wanted to ask a question to the if there's any guys in the chat when they were in high school. Did any of them, when they were that age, about this age, he's 15 or whatever character, did guys really hang stuff like that on their walls?
Tried.
Did you
We
ever do
tried.
that? Have like porn hanging everywhere?
Did any of my buddies telling, or anybody here with a younger or older brother, did you guys have boobies proudly displayed within your little domicile? I tried having that, and my mom ripped that down too. No, you're going to respect ladies. Yeah.
Well, I grew up in a house where boys weren't allowed to come in my room. We had to sit in the living room or at the dining room table. And my mom would leave the light on and I'd have to be in by before midnight, that kind of stuff. That's the kind of parent I had. So, oh well, I'm an old fuddy duddy.
Came from same sort of lifestyle, let me tell you.
And see, cute scene right there.
Yeah. She wants to grab the girl's restroom key, has to grab the boys. Oh boy.
It was just funny because she had an actual look of dread on her face when she got the key, and then when she actually got to the men's room, you know.
I thought it was hilarious later when she's having a discussion with her future boyfriend. Come on, we're just two guys hanging out in the bathroom. I'm leaning against a urinal.
Yeah, and he thought he was, but see, he didn't really take offense to it because he was a geek and a nerd himself, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
So he was awkward as she was. I mean, he was like awakening as a man, just like she was, you know, in a way, if you think about it.
And that's the scene where a lot of you hit puberty. I watched this as a 47-year-old, so I didn't get a chance to. I got to see this after. I'm like, that would have been.
Yeah, I wish I'd had a rack like that when I was in high school. Mine got bigger later, but man, I didn't have nothing compared to her. I wish I did. I was built more like her, the blonde.
A lot of like early Kevin McBride or Danny McBride.
Oh, he was funny. Was he in a lot of stuff after this?
Billy Jane? Let's check
Yeah,
it out.
I don't remember. I mean, I'm trying to remember back, but
Look at him now.
he's good looking. At least the picture he's good looking.
He's in a short show called Conspiracy back in 2016. 6 years before that, he was in the United States with Tara in one episode. He was in another short in 2009. I'd say he's pretty much done with Hollywood. I mean, he's not completely done. He might have a podcast he does, but he's not featured on IMDb like our friends at Geeky.
Yeah, well, go down a little bit and see if he's in production or anything. You know, that he became a producer or a director or something.
He played young Dar in The Beastmaster.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. My sister fell in love with that guy. Yeah, see, he's doing more. It looks like, 2018, 2017.
He makes videos for Buck Cherry. That's not bad. I like Buck Cherry.
Yeah, so the oldest stuff, the youngest stuff in there looks like 2018.
Yeah,
Josh. He switched over to music videos and stuff.
If it pays for the note, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
But see up there, it says Conspiracy TV short completed, and it says 2016. So, you know, it's taken a while to get out there. See what they're going to do with it.
It looks like a watch and play conspiracy, an interactive thriller told in a choose your own adventure format. When an ex-cop uncovers an assassination plot targeting a presidential candidate, he tries everything he can to stop it. Viewers make choices to solve the conspiracy, creating a maze of alternate plot lines and outcomes. So
is that like a future something they're going to have put out or something?
Where people
interactive movies?
I think it ran out of funding because it's in the completed stage, but it's at the top of every list. So it's completed, but it has yet to be released.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So they either are waiting on some other part to put it all together. It's like the music for it and stuff.
Yeah.
The same thing.
Yellow Musk, help me. He was on this TV show, which I remember very well.
I don't remember that one.
Parker Lewis Can't Lose had Corin Nemec and a few others on it. I remember that show very well because it was on the first lineup of the Fox network when Fox became big back in the late 80s.
Mm-hmm.
This was one of the big shows that they had. Parker Lewis, and then it was first Can't Lose, and then it was just Parker Lewis because he could lose. He could screw up. But it was a fun show. It had a lot of character and heart to it. The other show on Fox TV that I loved was Werewolf, which I just found a playlist of all the Werewolf episodes. So I'm completely happy. That's got Chuck Connors in it as one of the main characters, and I loved watching Chuck Connors as a young child. The reruns of The Rifleman and a bunch of other shows that he did in the 60s, and good stuff. Good stuff. Went on a rant. Sorry, kids.
Yeah, see that nice car?
Yes.
Picture car. Beautiful.
Is that a Chrysler? I think it is.
Oh, I thought it was a BMW or something.
I think it might be a Hammer.
But it's a convertible, so. And the scene where the brother pulls up on the curb to pick up his sister from her job. And then that hot biker chick picks him up. So he hit puberty, which was his goal through the whole thing, basically to get laid and get a woman.
Yeah.
Because he said what? He said in 2 years I'll be at my peak and it's all downhill or something like that. He made a comment. So he
doesn't realize how untrue that is.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know that much about men's.
I was a late bloomer.
But see, look at that. It's a nice house. That's a nice pool and stuff.
That pool is great. The brickwork is amazing. Me and Janet, we're not gay, but we do a lot of evaluation of scene work, and wherever they film this at, they spent a good amount of money to make that look perfect.
Yep. Or to make it look ritzy, like you could tell they were from a rich family. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, and you could tell by the way, I don't know, her clothes were definitely not anything I could have afforded when I was in high school.
That's probably what.
Or most girls, I don't think, could have afforded that stuff unless they. Oh, but that's right, I forgot. Remember when the very first scene when she's at her other school, which is ritzy school for stuck-up people, and then when she doesn't win the contest, she changes and starts dressing, still ritzy, but in her brother's clothes, and to go to the other school, which is down a few notches.
And then the comment is from Sherry Lynn Finn. I'm surprised you don't go to this other school with the rich kids.
Yeah, that comment.
I remember that. Okay.
So that kind of fixes it. The whole thing about the clothes, and then she had a girlfriend named Kofina or something like that. The called you.
The little brother gives him the name of Kofina. Oh, your boyfriend's name or your girlfriend's name is Kevina? Yeah, she's exotic.
That was hilarious. But I would love to have been able to see the outtakes from this. But how would you?
Go ahead.
How would you find the outtakes?
I don't know.
But see what's that blonde girl's name right there? Because my hairstyle is almost just like that right now. It's because my hair is really, really curly anyways, and I try to tone it down a little bit.
Deborah Goodrich, born in 1958. Graduated from Lake Erie College. Bachelor of Arts.
New York.
She's an April Fool's Day, Just One of the Guys, Out on a Limb, and Day by Day, which I remember Day by Day. Very short-lived, if I remember right.
I don't remember that show.
I was in a small town, and so we were held hostage by the 3 major networks and the 1 PBS channel.
Yeah, we only had a couple channels. that I remember until we were able to get cable. I mean, we didn't even have air conditioning until, you know, I was like in ninth grade, I guess, when we finally got, because I remember just sweating to death at home and all the windows open, and we had an attic fan going.
This is how I know it's old. Her career at Hollywood is probably over
Hmm.
because four down from the top is an Alien Nation TV series appearance. And I don't know if you remember Alien Nation TV series. That was one of my favorite shows. Another Fox TV show.
I don't
And
remember.
you
I don't
don't
remember.
remember it?
Mm-mm. Sorry.
I think if you ever get a chance to check it out, that would be one that you would be pleasantly surprised because it had a lot of depth, had really good characterizations, was better than the movie that it was spawned from. Fox came out with two movies or two TV series in 1988 or 87, spawned off of hot movies at the time. One was Alien Nation, one was Down and Out in Beverly Hills. Down and Out in Beverly Hills, the only thing it had in common with the movie was the TV series had the dog, which was cool, but the TV series was boring. Alien Nation
We
TV show.
only had one TV in our house, and I had four sisters, and my parents, fought over what they were going to watch. So we didn't get to, I mean, I think Saturday when we watched cartoons, or I got to watch reruns of Godzilla, stuff like that. And then on Sunday, I don't remember what was on, but we were one of those families like every year on New Year's we watched. My mom would make us watch The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and all those old movies, stuff like that. So
That
that's
show.
good. So just didn't really get to watch a lot of television or go to the movies.
This guy right here, the reptile boy, played by
Serpico or something.
Sarno.
Isn't that what he said his name was? Serpico or something?
Yeah, he was interesting. He was one of the three people that I would not have made it in that high school because I would have been laughing too much. You have him, you have the two guys that thought they were aliens.
Yeah, you know who they reminded me of? There was a show that my mom liked, and it had the Laverne and Shirley girls, and then
Yes,
the Squiggly or whatever his name was.
Lenny
And
and Sweet.
yeah, that's who they reminded me of.
I tell you what, Tony Hudson sells it so hard in this movie where she is just bored and she's trying to just get through this part of life to get to the next part of life.
Yeah,
She
trying.
sold that to me.
But that's the way it always is. You have the one friend that's, not as attractive as their best friend, and their best friend's always getting boyfriends and whatever else. And but see, I was that way at my own house because I was the skinny girl, like the one, the blonde, and then my sisters had a blonde bombshell that was older than me, and then had a blonde bombshell that was beneath me, and I was a brunette, and I was a stick. Okay, so I the guys would call me Dolly Niblets and stuff at school. I mean, they were mean to me and stuff. So I was basically a nerd, and I hung with the guys and went to shop and agri and all that because I didn't want to have to compete with girls like her in high school. So I didn't.
You have Rod Stewart album right here for
Oh, is
Body
that
Wishes.
what that is? Okay.
Yes, I I saw that. My mom is a Rod Stewart fanatic. Rod Stewart and Air Supply couldn't go without. Wait, that's Air Supply on the radio. Leave it on. We'd stay in the
But
car for 2 minutes to listen to that before we go in and
on
go
the
shopping.
other wall above her lamp, it looks like it's Billy Idol. Is that Billy Idol up there?
Idol.
Or
That looks like Billy Idol with the punk rock hair of 1984, 82.
mm-hmm.
I kind of miss that era of MTV. I'm in my 40s now, and I look at old MTV videos, and there is a definite punk influence that was very popular at the time and everybody was borrowing from the appearance of punk. They were not punk, but they had the look of it. And I really do miss, there's some really good music from that era.
Yeah, one of my favorite bands was the Cars. Loved the Cars. Ozark Mountain Daredevils. My sister loved them, and I liked a lot of their songs because she had a stereo, I didn't. So
I felt sorry for her at the start of the film whenever she was basically denied her prize, and then later those same two teachers are talking about how good she looks. It's like, really?
yeah, but I heard teachers talking about students that way in school.
when when I was going into high school, we just had like a major scandal. Is our psychology teacher, her husband was caught boning one of the main cheerleaders of the football team.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, like the teachers were given like super extra heavy handedness. Like if you are found with a kid, one of our students, you're going to jail forever. And so for the 5 or 6 years that I kind of stayed in contact with a lot of people around my area, even after I graduated, there was still the heavy hanging blade of Damocles there, waiting to take the head off any teacher that was found inside one of the student body. Then it happened after like 2001, 2002. But they did good from like 1988 to 2002. None of the teachers got inside the kids. I was happy.
Well, that you know of, they just didn't get caught.
Yeah, yeah, they were really good about not getting caught.
There was this one teacher. Oh, he was my math teacher, and I couldn't stand this guy. He would always bend over my desk, and he'd like put his head right next to my neck and stuff like that. And that's why I can't stand Joe Biden when he does that. But at Christmas, we had to draw names in the room, and I ended up drawing his name. Oh, so that meant he had to give me a gift, and I had to get him one. And we went shopping, and Mom was like, "What do you want to get?" And I looked around, and I found this little shelf that had like 50-cent bottles of cologne. I think it was Brute 33 or whatever it was, and I put a bow on it and gave it to him. And that was it. I was like, ugh. I don't even remember what he gave me because I just remember giving it to somebody else. I didn't even open it because I was like, I can't take this. This guy's disgusting. So
I'm sorry. I'm just crushing on this scene. You got Sherry Lynn Finn with her 80s hair, trying to curl up on this dude, this totally hot dude, looks like Ralph Macchio.
yeah. Just thought it was a very interesting story in the screenwriting perspective. That it was very good, and it makes you really think about it when you know anything about writing a script. Then the details it has to go through, because the person that is the casting director or whatever, they have to find people that fit the characters to make that script come to life. So the work that this person went through to find all these specific characters, to me, I just thought they did an excellent job. I really liked all the characters and the places they were put in this movie. They were believable, even though I knew it was a comedy and it was a movie, but I didn't feel like, oh my God, that is the worst person to put in that, in that position. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I've seen so many movies where like, oh my God, why didn't they put anybody else in this part besides that person? But like that scene, I loved it. I love that scene. But
he reminds me of an older, like the guy that was a senior when William Zabka was a freshman. That's what he reminds me of.
Mm-hmm.
He's like an older version of William Zabka, and she was dating him. That was her boyfriend. So I can see it in the movie where she's just like, I'm done with this personality type. We're out.
Well, she realizes that he doesn't care about what's important to her. That he
Yeah.
only cares about her looking hot and hanging on his arm while he's doing a business job or whatever it is he's going to have. So she doesn't want that. She realizes that I want to, even if I don't make a lot of money, I want to be a reporter. This is what I want to do. And that she's going to try to do it. And that's what she did it. She sacrificed, she cut her hair off and everything to become someone else so that she could write an article that would be interesting. Okay. And
Yeah.
because they said her article was written well, that it's just the content was boring. So,
Yeah.
you know, but
There's
gorgeous,
yeah.
even with her hair short. But I'm a girl, so, but I still think she's pretty. But see, she looks like she could be a guy right there.
Yeah.
And the scene where she helps that one girl fix the back of her earring.
A pencil eraser.
Yeah, so the pencil eraser, but then she went, "Oh, I have sisters," you know, to cover up the fact that she's not a girl, she was a
Yeah.
guy. And that scene where he says, "You got pudding on your shoe," when he runs. Oh, I just thought the whole thing was adorable.
It's a good movie. It gets over. I think this is like considered a cult movie because I don't hear about it at all until you started making mention of it. And I told a few friends of mine that I was going to talk about this film tonight, and
Mhm.
they were like, "Oh, that's a good movie. It's got William Zabka in it." Didn't talk about Joyce Heisler. Didn't talk about Sherry Lynn Finn. Didn't talk about it. No, it's got the guy from Cobra Kai. You love him. That's what they remember.
Mhm. But that's what I'm saying. Everyone takes away. The one character I loved was Buddy. See, I
Yeah.
took Buddy away from the movie more than anyone else because that he's the one that made me laugh the most. His character was hilarious. I love the interaction between the brother and the sister because I always wanted a brother. So you know, that's probably why it just seemed to grab me that way. You know, in a sisterly way of what it would be like to have a brother. But I would have loved to have been able to have a hot boyfriend like that when I was in high school. But oh well, it didn't.
This guy reminds me of, because of the hairstyle, he reminds me of one of the crewmen on the Reliant after Khan takes over.
Oh yeah, it could have been. Could have been some.
He could have totally been weapons control on the Reliant.
But he was. I think he was in the TV show Dallas, wasn't he?
He was. I just panned through
Something
a
like
picture where
that.
he was on that. He's on Dallas in '78.
Oh, okay.
He was in the
Yeah, my
movie
mom
Dirty.
loved that show. My mom
Yeah.
was a huge TV hog. I mean, I don't remember my mom not sitting in front of the TV when she wasn't at work. I mean, she loved escaping, watching TV. She loved J.R. Ewing.
And that's kind of what we're looking for nowadays because the world we have isn't so fun and so pretty, and so we have to try to find good escapism. Some of
I
us
think
find
that's why all of these streaming sites like YouTube and um, uh,
Amazon Prime,
yeah,
Netflix.
Amazon Prime, but other channels, you know, that are popular is because people just want to escape, even if it's for a short period of time. They just want something that's entertaining that takes them away from reality. And I guess that's one of the reasons why there's certain movies that I just go, oh, I just don't
Mhm.
want to watch it. I mean, there was a movie that came out, something about some pair of pants or something, sister pants
Just under
hood,
the traveling pants.
whatever that was. I never watched it, but my two of my sisters were like, "Oh, it's the best thing ever," but I never did go see it, and they thought it was great, but it just wasn't something I was interested in watching, and I still don't regret not seeing it because I didn't. It wasn't something I was interested in.
That was a really good movie.
I haven't seen that one either. There's a lot of movies I haven't seen because I just didn't. I didn't live in a place where you could just go down the street. We only had a drive-in theater out in the middle of nowhere, and you had to drive like 40 miles to go to it. So we just didn't live anywhere where it was easy to watch movies. And we had three channels on TV, and my mom would buy movies, you know, and she'd watch them and TV shows and things like that. But I just remember watching shows with my mom because and liking some of the shows that she watched, or her soap opera on the one day off in the week when she was off. She had a soap opera she watched, and she recorded it on VHS, and she would watch the episodes that she missed on the weekend. So we didn't get to watch TV a lot because they were watching TV all the time.
I agree with that.
And
I
who's
think
that woman on the right? Isn't she the one that was married to
that's
Patrick Swayze?
Kelly Lynch. Her
Yeah,
husband.
looks like, yeah, she looked like his wife because I remember an interview with her after he died. I was gonna say I recognized her face. I didn't know what her name was, but her face looked familiar.
Her spouse is Mitch Glazer, and she was briefly as a model. Blah 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 blah. But yeah, she's pretty popular. She's not at her peak anymore, but back in her 20s and 30s, she was definitely hitting a lot of work. Sherilyn Fenn has been in a lot of movies. I'm going through the DVDs here. And I'm like, I've seen that one. I've seen that one. Seen that one. Back in the 90s, I had a girlfriend that we could walk into a Blockbuster and there's our weekend. Pick up 5 movies. 5 movies, son. And
Yes,
that
one of
was
my
it.
favorite movies was The Craft. I really
Oh,
liked that movie, but I can't remember who was in it. I mean, what their actresses' names were, but I thought it was great.
I can see them all in my head. I just can't.
Oh, and the Witches of Eastwick. I love that movie too. Yeah, those two girls.
Robin Tooney, which is like one of the most beautiful women that's been
Yeah,
on
she was
television
gorgeous.
in history ever. Veruza Balk, which I had a co-worker at Menards that looked just like her. Neve Campbell and
Yeah.
Rachel True, which I haven't seen Rachel True in a whole lot, but this movie was 96. I was dragged to the theaters 3 times. I saw this movie in the theaters more than I saw Twilight, not Twilight, Titanic. Same fucking thing.
Yeah,
And
I haven't seen that one yet. I gotta watch it. Everybody goes on and on about the Titanic and the music and all this, and I'm like, well, one of these days I might watch it.
I've gotten kicked out of a theater 2 times in my life. One time was when the guy falls off the Titanic and he hits his knees on the propeller before hitting the icy water. And I laughed really hard, and everybody kind of faced me. Like they turned, and might as well just put the movie on pause because then a few people went and told the authorities, go get that guy removed. He's laughing too much. This is a
Well,
sad.
how did he hit his legs on the propeller? Was the boat like sticking up out of the water?
Yeah, the boat's going down.
Oh, okay.
The boat's getting
The water.
pulled
That's
into the
weird.
water, and he's on the rail, and he loses his grip, and he tumbles, smacks his knee on the metal blade of the propeller, and it just makes this wonderful wrong, this wrong sound, and it just echoed so perfectly, and the ADR was perfect, and like the sound. And like we had that brand new 7.1 stereo surround theater, which has been like the standard since Jurassic Park at the time. And we had a really nice Dolby surround. And I heard that and I just couldn't help it. That was the perfect moment to laugh because everybody else is boo-hooing about this. And I'm like, this is not what I want to boo-hoo about.
Well, that one actor did get better looking as he got older, I think. The one that played the love interest, Rick Morehouse.
Yeah.
He definitely got better with age, to me at least.
Yeah, he turns into an ugly duckling. He graduates, and at about the age of 50, like a lot of the people I know, they've started watching his movies, and I recognized his face, but I didn't know who he was. And then I went through his IMDb, and I'm like, I know this person. I've watched their movies before. This was a good movie.
I thought it
I have a lot. Go ahead.
I really enjoyed it. I mean, I laughed through the whole thing. I loved all the characters. I thought every person they picked for each character that was in the forefront um, played their character well. Even the coach reminded me of the coach I had when I was in high school. You know, stickler to this, that, and the other, and moving his trophies around, all that stuff. Little things like that, little details like that to me. Um, it really made me think of high school. I really felt like I was being pulled back into high school again. Um, any high school, even though the clothing was really hard to get past, you know, because it's very dated clothing. But besides that, the, you know, I thought it was really, really good. I thought that all the actors did well. They did a good job in the characters that they were supposed to be. Very believable.
The movie comes off as actually kind of believable, even though it does not. There's a few parts of it where I was pulled out of the movie when she changed schools and didn't do any paper transfer work information. And she just went in with general population of kids, and she's just kind of going around from class to
I didn't
class. And
even think about that.
like
Yeah,
whenever
that went over my head. I totally missed out on that. I didn't even think about that part of it. But you're right. That I should have noticed that, but I didn't.
because I was usually in high school, they would pair me up with somebody that was brand new, and I would show them around for like a day or two, and that didn't happen with her at all. And she just, here I am, new person. Oh, by the way, I can't shower with you boys. I've got a gastrointestinal distress. You know, the perfect way for her not to show that, hey, I've got a rack. And that would have made the movie's climax happen a lot faster and more repeatedly for our male audience. But she didn't show those off until the very end of the film. And I've got to say that if I'm going to just review this on terms of nudity, it was well worth watching an hour and 24 minutes into the film. And oh my, yeah.
Yeah, I could see why a lot of the guys that I've talked to about this movie all said the same thing. Oh, I got to see her boobs. And I was like, okay, well, you can see boobs all over YouTube nowadays. So, you know, to me, that wasn't such a big thing. But I just thought the whole concept of her having her feelings hurt because she really thought her story was really good, which it was when it came to writing, but the content wasn't good. So, in a way, just like she says, when she says to the teacher that he forced her to go out on a, you know, on a quest and basically come up with a great story to write about. And you know, and I was really surprised at the ending when I first saw it the first time because when she went to the job and she was sad and her brother's coming to pick her up, I really thought that the guy just said F it because she had embarrassed him and stuff like that. But apparently, I guess he read her article and he thought that he really liked her and he wanted another chance to meet her as a woman instead of a teenage boy. Because that whole scene in the bathroom when she's picking the spaghetti off of his jacket, and then she puts her fingers and moves his hair behind his ear. He looked at her like, "What the?" You know, he had that look on his face, and that whole thing was very awkward. But that was good because that showed me the awkwardness that I felt for the characters. That it was believable that he thought that she was really a boy. So that
Yeah,
just
whenever she showed him her tatas, it was weird because it's like the kid couldn't believe that she had boobs. Like,
are
did
those
you
what
get
I
those
think
put
they
on?
are?
Yeah,
Yeah, because he I mean, she took him shopping, helped him buy clothes, and uh, drank brewskis with him. You know, hung out. You know, he looked at her as a guy friend. He had a friend at school to have lunch with and talk about bullshit. You know, that was going on in their lives. Not having a date for the prom. You know, all that stuff. To me, it's the same type of thing. If I had a guy friend that was dressed up as a woman trying to get a position or something, you know, I think that would be now. See, you could make that. You could make a new movie, and call it just one of the gals or whatever, and have a guy dressing up in high school as a girl, and that would be seen okay. You could do that, but see, you can't do what this movie is doing
No,
today.
no, you can't.
See, reverse the role, and it will, and people will accept it. But if you turn it back around to where it's a woman dressing like a boy, that wouldn't work, especially if she wasn't transgender or really, wanting to be a guy.
She didn't really want to be a guy to be a guy. She doesn't want to have the uncomfortable ball stretching athletics going on. She just
No,
wants
I
to be a
think
guy just,
what I'm saying
just for
is
privilege.
that now live in a society where you couldn't reverse the role again. You couldn't do that exact same movie today. Even though in that one scene where he's laying in the chair, I sent it to you, I thought, that said, he said, uh, women are allowed to be just as deviant and sexually perverted as us men. Remember when he said that to his sister? So, and that was back then. So we were considered really more equal than we had ever been, basically, from the way that I perceived the characters and the way people treated each other in the movie. That everybody was on equal planes, except if you're a hot chick, you're going to get treated a little better than the girl that's not so hot, or the guy that's hot and the nerdy guy that's not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I guess I fit in it because all my friends were the nerds when I was in high school. I sat at that table with the two quirky guys. That's where table I would have been sitting at. So there you go. So I can see it from that side because I wanted to be. All girls want to be the popular girl that's pretty and that all the boys like, and that or all of them are coming and asking her to go to the prom or whatever. So I don't know. And I still think it's that way today. So that's what I was talking about, high school being pretty much the same
Yeah.
today as it was back then when this movie was made, because that's what they be. They want to be the prom king. They want to be the prom queen. They want to be the popular girl in school, or the popular boy in school, or the jock, or whatever, the popular one, whatever makes you popular. So we don't realize in high school that when you're a grown up and you're actually working your job and stuff, that none of that stuff means as much as it used to. There's life after high school, but in high school you don't look at things that way. Everything is now, now, now. I got to be pretty today.
It's all heightened. The emotions, the
Yeah,
urgency.
I guess it's because of our sexual hormones all kicking in, and we're in like a whirlwind of sexual tension in high school because everybody wants to be accepted or wanted, and feel like they're a part of something. And I think maybe that's one of the reasons why I just thought this was so good, because I thought they did such a good job of bringing that out in me again, the feelings that I had in high school and the wants and the needs that I felt like I thought I had back then, and wanting her to be able to achieve those goals of being able to be successful and getting that job that she wants, because it's going to make her future. Even though she may not make as much money, whatever, like she said, it didn't matter to her. She just wanted to be able to have the job that she wanted, which was writing. And that part made me happy to see that she did win. And even though she got a broken heart over it, for her first time, in her life, she got a broken heart. And and you know what? It would have been cute though to see a sequel, to see if they ended up together. What would happen later on in their future of them.
Actually, I want to see Buddy and Sherry Lynn Finn's story of how they deal with young adulthood. That would be the movie I want to watch, because I think the brother really steals the film.
I did
He
too. That's exactly what I feel. I really loved him. I thought without, if you take his character completely out, the movie just not wouldn't be as good,
it really doesn't work. It
because he
just
is comic relief basically. He
totally
feels.
felt the reason why she fits into the role initially so weird or so well. But I think it is kind of weird because she does have some mannerisms that when you look closely, she fails at, like picking the boys' uh, urinal key instead of the girls' bathroom key. She does some things that she herself doesn't feel right about it. But
Mm-hmm.
her brother does such a good job of showing her the mindset behind why a guy does this. Why does a guy stand like that? Why does a guy shift from knee to knee with his body weight? What's going on with this here? He does a lot of heavy lifting to show her the way to behave as a man.
Yeah, when he's like saying, "What do you want to be, Tootsie, Yentl?" And he's yelling at her stuff, and he's like trying to figure out because he thinks his sister's having like a breakdown or something. But it's funny how he does do it for her because it's his sister, and he doesn't give it away, but he does tease her about it, in a way where no one else thinks anything of it. Nobody else takes it as literal. You know what I mean? But she does. And she knows that he's got all the beans on her because he could tell their mom or their dad on the phone or at any moment. And when Kevin comes pissed off, he could have told him, but he didn't. So he never broke the vow, the brotherly vow, I guess you could say, that he had with his sister about the secret of her secret sex change or whatever you want to call it. Because when her best friend said the sex change, to her. So, all the stuff that was said in this movie, I just don't see anyone making this new movie or remake of this movie the way it is right now, because it would be too controversial, which is sad that we've gone so far to one direction, that you could do it as a kid, a boy wanting to be a girl, but you can't do it as a girl being a guy. You see what I mean? To me, that's so messed up to me. I think it's just sad that we cannot, we just can't use comic and, anything comedy anymore the way we used to, because it's considered, I don't know. I just think it's stupid. It's in a way, it's kind of depressing to think about it, that we cannot use great stories anymore because you have to change them to fit whatever narrative these people think is the right one. Even if it's a great story, it's going to be a really good story, but because the right person that would take it that way and make it into a movie doesn't see it, but the person who does see it says, well, if you take this character and change him to this character and do this to this character, then we'll make it. You see? So it's not the story anymore that was originally written by the writer, because they've made so many changes to it. It no longer fits.
I wonder how many scripts they made for this one. I wonder how many scripts were made for this movie.
I don't know. That's why I said I would love to have a reel of outtakes or behind the scenes stuff of what they did to make it. And that would be, I would love to see that. I would love to see them cracking up in between scenes when Buddy's doing some of the stuff, because you could tell he got to ad lib a lot.
Yes.
So, and he was this scene. I just can't even think of anyone else that would have done that character as well. I mean, I really don't. And that's very rare to me, to put most roles. I can pretty much say, oh, that so-and-so was good, but so-and-so could have done it too. And it would have been, I think, as good. But
yeah, I don't think anybody can deal.
That. Sorry, what?
No, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, I just don't think anybody could have taken William Zabka's role and done it better than him. He plays such a prick.
He's really good at it.
He's wonderful.
I know it. And right now on Cobra Kai, he can still be a prick and people love him. He's not the bully that's hated anymore, And I think that's really good. That's one of the reasons the first season when I watched it, I was like, it's good to be able to like the bad guy for a change. Because the villains always get the short end of the stick, basically. So, and then they're trying to work it out, and then when he's being nice and bending over, then you got the Karate Kid being a butthead about it, So I really like that show. Maybe we should do a thing on that series or something, because I really like that show. I think it's a great series. I'm really happy that I got to watch it.
The Karate Kid?
Mm-hmm. Well, no, the series, Cobra Kai.
Okay.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's a great series. They just don't make that many stuff like that anymore, It's entertaining. It's not filled with sex. You know, every scene's got sex, this and that, and that. It's team building. You know, base. You know, you have to have a team to win. Um, I just like the whole overall everything that they've done with it so far. I thought it's been really good. But that's off topic, so I won't talk about that anymore.
That's fine. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of. I don't want to see this movie get remade. I really don't
Well,
think it can
they won't.
survive.
I'm not worried about that ever happening. But it
No,
is. I really liked it. I enjoyed it. I recommend anyone that wants to laugh their butt off and can get past the fact that it's dated. You know, you can tell by the clothing. But if you can get past
you'll
that,
laugh.
I think you'd really like it. If you like to laugh and you like good comedies and good acting.
It does have a lot of good acting. The characters took their roles seriously enough to where they seem like they were in control. They weren't getting cases of the bibbles, you know, whenever somebody gets, all right, action, and all of a sudden Tom loses it. We're all ready to do our job, Tom, but you got to start laughing. All right, fuck it. Take two, you know? You have that
Yeah,
happen a
they
lot.
they 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 made me believe they were all high school kids. It's just like the movie Grease. I mean, Grease, you could tell by looking at them, that none of them were in high school. They were all in their 20s or 30s at least, but they did such a good job at acting their characters that it didn't matter that they looked older. To me, it didn't. When I saw that musical, I thought it was really, really well made, and I thought they did a good job picking the people they did and for the characters. But I feel the same way about this movie. I feel like whoever the casting director was, they did a really good job at picking the characters to play these parts.
They picked some great characters, some great people to fill the roles.
So, were you happy to get to watch it? And how did you feel about going? Wow, I can't believe I never saw this before.
I actually did say that because there was a period in time where my father would get off work and he'd grab a movie from the video rental store, and then we would go and watch it, and then we'd return it by like 8 at night, and we'd only get charged like $1.
Yeah,
And that, so we had that timer. We the timer's on. We got to watch this movie, and I watched probably every Christopher Columbus or John Hughes movie at the time of that up to like 89, because my dad he switched jobs at that point. He started going from Lincoln where he's working, and then he started going back to Decatur. So we didn't have that opportunity any further. But up until '89, I got a chance to watch every John Candy film over and over and over and over again, because it would be nothing for us to go drive into Lincoln and go drop off a VCR tape. Remember the VCR tape in a box slot there, kids? Remember that?
no, I don't remember us ever renting one because there really wasn't any place to rent. Uh, a
I don't
V-
even know what to say about that. I that's wow.
because I lived in nowhere.
Oh yeah.
So I'm not even going to tell you how many people were in my senior class at all because this school was like lit pull.
Well, we had 92 people from my own.
I had way less than that. So it was bad. It was, and my mom thought she said it was a godsend because she had 5 daughters that graduated from high school and none of them had to get married. Because we weren't influenced by a lot of the things that we would have been if we'd still lived in a bigger city because there was nothing. And just like I said, I looked around at the gene pool around me in high school and I saw all my friends that were pregnant and had a kid already and they were in like 10th grade, 11th grade or whatever. And I'm like, I don't want to end up like that. So I just didn't date because I didn't want to have feelings for someone I knew I didn't want to live. I just didn't want to live there. So I wanted out. I wanted out of the state. I wanted away from all these people. I was like, please don't trap me here. And when my sister, she was living up in Illinois, and she called and said, I found out I'm pregnant, and I want you to come stay with me and help take care of me and around the house and stuff. You can get a job or whatever, but help me out until the baby comes. You know. So I said, okay, sure, because it got me out of there. Little did I know that 3 months after I graduated from high school, I was to be married. So well,
That kind of happens.
I didn't. I really didn't get to do anything. I mean, I just didn't get to party and do all the wild stuff that other people get to do. I just never had the opportunity. It just never came up.
Now we've talked in the past a little bit before about your career since then, and for a while there, you worked around a little bit of script writers and screenwriters and some famous people.
Yeah, I still do some of that stuff.
So you did get a chance to actually go out and enjoy Janet being Janet.
Oh yeah, later. But I'm talking about all the people that talk about things that they did in high school and getting to do things, learning about things. I just never. I never had that. I never. We my friends would say, "Hey, let's go to the lake," and they'd take a case of beer or whatever, and we go out to the lake. But I didn't like beer, so I would drink iced tea or water, whatever I could get because, and I didn't drink whiskey or any of that stuff. So I just was a doll. I was this doll because I wasn't I didn't want to end up like most of these people. So I just said no.
We
And
Warrensburg Latham had to delay its first reunion for the class of '93 till the 10-year mark because too many of my school associates were busy raising their third kid attached to their boob at the time. Can you
well,
imagine that? There was
I
only
can
93 of
I
us.
go down. I still can go down and visit my dad because he still lives in the house that we lived in. And it's sad when I go to take my dad out to eat lunch or whatever in a nearer town that's near there that has restaurants and stuff. And to see some of the people that I went to high school with, and I'm like, they look twice as old as me. Um, they're very overweight, or they just. I thank myself. I tell myself, "Oh, thank God I got out of this place." That's what I tell myself. And isn't that sad?
It is.
Your hometown or whatever. I wish I had better memories of things like that, but I'm thankful all the time. Thank you for not ending up there because I did not want to end up there.
I completely get it. I see a lot of the coworkers or a lot of the people I graduated with back in the day, and unless they have a job where like their daddy's an electrician and that job got passed on to them, or their daddy's a feed retailer and that got passed on to them, they had a rough go at life. I mean, they had to go through, you know, community college. They had to go through a job that probably closed down in the mid 2000s. And that is the story of Decatur, Illinois. And I hate to say it, I anybody from Decatur, Illinois comes in here and be like, "Hey, it's not that bad. What are you talking about? It's not that bad, my ass." What was your population when I was in high school? It was 96,000. What is your population now? It's in the 70s, dropping into the 60s.
Yeah, because there's no industry there, right?
Yeah, the only thing they have there is ag. They've got a very large ag
The
processor.
only thing in the town that I was in, because we had to bus quite a ways to go to school, is a gas station. And now there's a chicken plant there. That's it. That's all that's in the town.
You better have some of your finest in that town guarding that chicken plant. Right now, we are having a problem nationwide with alphabet people turning these things into fireballs. It's a
Oh, I
problem.
know. This is a processing plant where they take the live chickens and process them to take to wherever they're going to send them off. But it's just that I'm saying if you blink as you're driving through this town, you miss it. I mean, it's just a speck. It's just, and then you got houses around, here and there, and they're all like a bunch of them are little brick homes, and then you've got some little farmhouse looking homes, and then you got trailer houses. That's it. That's what you have out there. But I think there's maybe 200 people in the town. That's it. So and it's a speck, and it's dying out because as the people that were there when we were young, they've all moved. Everybody's moved out, moved away or moved to bigger cities somewhere else in the state or whatever. And a lot of my friends were like, I'm getting the hell out of Dodge. And I could see why. So it's not that's why I guess um, the school I went to was bigger because it had like 7 or 8 towns sending their kids to this one school. And it was kindergartners all the way up to seniors. That's how little the school was too, because there wasn't a lot of people. It's a rural area, and there's thousands of towns like that in these states down here. When I told people that you could drive for 2 hours and not see a single house, they're like, "What?" People have a hard time believing that. I go, "Yeah." And all in these areas out here, you can drive for miles and miles and miles and not see a house. People, in other countries that don't have a lot of area like that, they just have a hard time believing that there's nothing, that there's that much land, especially when they're packed like sardines in these big cities. And in a way, I'm kind of glad I didn't have that. Um, you know, Now I do like the city life, but I'm outside of the city, but I can get to the city.
Yeah, I
Really
want
good
to be able to grab
alcohol and great places to listen to music and wonderful food and movie theaters and shopping centers. I mean, everything I could possibly want. I could go down this road and I can go to get Vera Wang clothes if I want. I can go down there and get jeans. I have the variety now, but I choose to live somewhere where I have access to that. I would not recommend unless you want to raise your child where there's nothing. Then you raise your child like that if you want. But I didn't want to do that, to my children. I don't want to put them in the same position that I was in, no position, basically, where there's no opportunities for you. So I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, my parents and I argue about it a lot, especially after I showed them the area of Texas I'm living in now, because Hill Country is not too far away and it's kind of ritzy, but there's a lot of people that work their asses off to have what they've got there. And showing my dad the various towns and communities, I said, this town, I got upset because we could have lived within proximity of this. You would have had a good job because you're a machinist and we need those down here like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I could have grown up here instead of where I'm at, where I was from. I've never seen anything like what we have in Texas when I lived in Illinois. We didn't have the ability to go up or down the scale like you do here. I didn't see the ability for a person to just go to high school, get out, and go get a job, and go get a career.
Mm-hmm.
Do that here if you're ballsy enough and you are resilient enough. You get used to the word no. You get used to being told no, and you just go out and fine. I'll go get another interview. I'll go out and get another interview. I'll go, and finally somebody gets tired of hearing you. You're at the desk again with your new resume. They get tired of that. Eventually, they're like, "Fine, you can have this job," and they tell you that. But you can have anything you want down here, provided you provide the ability to do it. You have to learn it. You have to follow through with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's just one of those things that
Well, see, that's the thing is that one thing that I did notice in the small town that when I left was that people still had pride in their homes. They mowed their yards and they had little fences around their homes. Um, they trim their limbs. They wash their cars on Saturday, things like that. But then each year, when I'd go back to visit or whatever, it just seemed like it was more of a ghost town. And people, they'd have 5 cars in their yard. You could tell that they were losing pride in everything. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So, and that's what's sad. That's one thing I'm seeing so much of now. people are putting videos on Twitter and other apps and showing this and says it looks like it's a burned out, messed up place that's in Bosnia or whatever. This is in Philadelphia or whatever, and they'll show it, and they show all the homeless people on the streets and drunk people laying in their sidewalk, and it's just sad and heartbreaking from what I remember growing up in traveling, because we'd travel every summer, depending on what Air Force base my dad was to see our relatives in Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, Alabama, or wherever we were to go, or in Maine, because I had relatives up in Maine and New York. Depending on where we went, driving through the cities and stuff off the interstates, and slowly watching them slowly just like become ghost towns, because of whatever, there no jobs or whatever was going on. But I don't know, it's really sad to see it now compared to what it was when I was young. And remembering, it seemed like everybody had plenty, they had more. And people that I knew that were poor, they were poor. I mean, they didn't have, I remember going to a couple of my relatives' houses, my mom, especially my mother's side, because her side didn't have money. And we would go visit them, and they had good food and, all this stuff, but they lived in a house that had that black tar paper nailed on the walls outside, with great big round nails. And I don't even know what that's called, but I remember going to houses like that, and we would make, milkshake, and we'd take milk and we'd put ice in there, cocoa and milk or whatever, and we'd shake them. We'd all take turns shaking the big jar. It was an old pickle jar like that they have at the gas stations, the great big ones. Doing that, and we'd take turns shaking it to make milkshake. And we thought that was cool. I mean, we thought that was a great dessert or whatever to have, because we were poor. We didn't see all the fancy ice creams that other people got to eat and stuff. So, in a way, I'm kind of glad I got some of what I did, but it opened my eyes to show me that what I didn't want in my future. Or what kind of person I didn't want to end up with. And when I see all the girls, like you saw in the show we just watched, they're looking around, they want out, but you don't see, nobody's needy. You know what I mean? I remember
nobody's.
And there was lots of people that, that dressed and they wore the same shirt every couple of days and stuff like that, because they just didn't have the money to buy stuff. And I remember my mom was one of those mothers that we would watch. My little sister, she was really good at basketball, and I think she got a scholarship to go to college with her basketball scholarship. I never did play basketball. I hated basketball myself, but I remember going to watch my little sister play on her team, and Mom was just so proud of her. You could tell she was so proud of her. And I would be keeping score, doing score cards and stuff like that. But my mom would say, "Who's that girl, number whatever?" And I'd tell her her name. She goes, "Well, I want you to find out what bra size she is, because I'm going to buy her some bras, because I can tell that she needs some bras." Okay. And that's how my mom was. And so she would go and buy some bras, and I would have to take them to school and give them to these girls, because my mom felt bad for them, because my parents had retired from the military, and they were making their retirement money, but they both started working. They had new jobs or whatever there, and they were working. So we weren't poor. We had a nice house. We never went out without meals. We always had nice shoes and nice pants and decent clothes and stuff. So, we were pretty lucky to have what we had compared to some of the other people that I knew. But that's just the kind I'm always thankful for having a wonderful mom and a wonderful dad that cared about us. And, crime, there was hardly any crime. I mean, there wasn't shootings. And that's so funny is that I remember thinking back and looking at some of the things that all the guys driving pickup trucks, and they all had gun racks in the back of in their truck window, and they had rifles and stuff on them. And we never had a kid pull a gun and try to shoot anybody.
Never happened. That never happened in your school. Never happened in your county. Like, you're rolling around armed. You had ammo slapped in
on your belt in class. I mean, it was just weird. I don't know what happened. I have no idea. It just seems like in a blink of an eye, you got all these kids that are just wanting to beat up people in school, and they're ganging up on people and beating them to they have to go to the hospital and stuff. I just don't understand it. I just don't understand where that comes from. But I grew up in a coddled world. I didn't, where I lived, there was just so limited amount of anything that I remember I tell people, well, I haven't seen that, and like, what? They think I'm from another planet or whatever, but I am, because I didn't get to delve in all this stuff, smoking pot and trying all this stuff, mushrooms or whatever, and all this stuff that people, I didn't even hear about half that stuff until I'd been married like 10 years. And then I was like, what is that? I mean, what are you doing? And they're telling me about it. I'm like, I'm not going to do that, because I didn't want to get involved in all that junk. Because I just
I like to think
didn't
about.
grow up that way. So I'm lucky.
I gotta say pretty much the same thing. I tried pot before I went in the Navy, and my parents, they did everything they could to make sure that I was focused and I was forward facing on a lot of things. And then something happened, like the kids that were 5 years younger than me, just like their parents quit or gave up. Shadow and Son said he'd been listening in the car for a while, couldn't chat. He was driving. Parents stopped parenting, says Parrot Ed. Parents, exactly. They just stopped being their mother and father of their kids,
Yeah,
and
because
they
they
started
expect
being their
the
friend.
government and the schools to take that position.
Yeah, and we see how far that got us.
Yeah, not very good.
I was expecting by the time I was 47, 50 years of age that we would start having flying cars and we would have
Yeah,
things kind
too.
of
I,
going in a,
I always thought that, but we don't. I was thinking when I saw Fifth Element, I was like, when are we going to be here? When are we going to achieve the goals that you see in that movie? I thought we'd already be there by now.
and that
Flying
really
car.
upsets me because we should have a higher level of existence than what we had going to school. What we had when we were younger. We It's the same thing. And instead of just us turning on the boob tube, now it's the YouTube, or now it's the Odyssey or whatever. I'll probably be swapping over to Odyssey as time goes on, or somebody somewhere else if YouTube keeps sending me stupid numbers and letters like this. But I I just got to say that there's really, we haven't swapped much. A lot of people can pick their own content they want to watch, but there's a lot of people that would much rather watch Jenna Marbles talk about how her hair or her braids or her fingernails are icky today, or her greyhound, blah blah blah. Whereas if they tune into Janet from another planet, Janet tells you, Janet's speaking to you from like a person who's gone through an emotional warfare situation, and she's in the trench with you trying to bring you up.
Well,
You,
I think it's important that you try to be healthy, because how can you have a healthy mind when you sit in front of the TV and you drink soda pops all day, eat chips, and you don't do any exercise? I mean, how does that help you? And through my whole life, I've always tried to eat right, and brush my teeth, bathe, do all those things, not because I'm vain or anything, but because it's for health purposes. I mean, every society that finally learned to have wash their hands and doing things like that, uh, this illnesses go down, all these different things. So that's just how I think. I mean, that's just where I'm at in my mind. That and it makes me feel good when I have a few people that have watched some of my workout videos or whatever, even though they're just for fun, basically. But I'm real passionate about, if you could just start walking every day, even if you don't have any equipment, just walk, get up and walk down around your block or something. And you start out doing that. The next thing in 6 weeks, you'll be doing 2 rounds around your block, because your stamina gets longer. You start feeling better because you sleep better at night because you've gotten exercise. Try to drink a little more water. If you drink 1 glass of water a day, drink 2. Little things like that can change yourself. And I've got 4 or 5 people that have told me that since they started watching my videos, it made them want to start, okay, make an effort and try to, get in better shape. That doesn't mean they have to be perfect because nobody's perfect. But they started walking, and then next thing you know, they lost 20 pounds. And they're more inspired to do more because they feel healthier, they feel better, and they're wanting to change their directions in their lives and things. So you have to believe in yourself. You can't be there for others if you can't be there for yourself, you know? So that's the one thing I try to inspire people with is that um, be the best you can be, but you're never going to be perfect. There's not any person that says they're perfect that they don't make mistakes. They're lying because I have never met a single person in my life, not even my parents, and I adore my parents. But not even my parents are perfect. They've made mistakes. But I tell people if you smoke, try to cut smoking. Not I'm not telling them they have to quit, but to try to cut down on how many cigarettes you smoke a day. Try to cut down on your soda pop or your coffee intake. All those things, because nothing is good if you do too much. I don't care. You can drink too much milk. It's not good for your kidneys and your liver. I mean, there's lots of things that aren't good for you. You have to do things in balance. And if you can try to do that and balance your life, other things start falling into place on their own. So I'm a firm believer in that. I really believe that you got to love yourself if you want to love anyone. And you won't
I
love if you don't work at it.
Yeah, it's a constant process where you really have to just, for whatever things you're going through, you have to put them aside because you
Mm-hmm.
have to have your eyes on a prize. You have to be like, okay, I'm going to do an hour of the stepping today. I'm going to be doing 45 minutes of rowing, or I'm going to be doing this bike ride for 30 miles. Or me and my son are going on a bike ride, which is 56 miles, and we have to do it within the hours of daylight.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you have to just focus and go to it. Just get it done. And a lot of people they get tested and they don't get reinforced emotionally. They don't get people behind them that say stupid, silly things like "I believe in you." Go for it. Instead, they hear themselves doubting themselves, and when people start saying things like that, they fulfill a hit a self-fulfilling prophecy. There's a reason why we call it spelling, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And not many people are doing the small validations, which they sound stupid to people on the outside, but you're the one that has to deal with your inner bullies. So go ahead and look stupid in front of the rest of us now, and 20 years from now, be cashing them checks, be enjoying the life that you fucking fought for. Because if you're not going to be willing to do that for yourself, please do us a favor and not complain in 20 years of where you are at because you didn't put forth the work. That's my biggest complaint.
Yes,
With,
I
with Go
but
ahead.
like my videos, I just make them spontaneously. I don't make one every single day. I try to. I'd be sitting and I'd be listening to a documentary or watching a movie or listening to someone else talk on YouTube and something inspire me. And I'll rush over to my little area and get a scarf, put it on, put some earrings on, put a hat on or whatever. And then I'll write down my little thing that I'm thinking about. And then I make a video, and that's all I do. I just do little shorts. But I do it because it's inspired for a reason. Like I'll get in an argument with somebody that hurt my feelings really bad, and I'll make a video about it, because I want people to know that I'm a person, I'm a real person. I have real feelings, and I'm passionate about my my
Enjoying
character
self
because she's
growth.
real, even though she's got, Janet on another planet is my name, but I'm real. I have real feelings, and I want people to know that I'm real and that um, I'm trying to use my passions to maybe inspire someone else in some way, make them laugh, make them say what, or, or whatever. but I want them to think about something, that maybe they could do it, or maybe they could uh, feel good about themselves for just, even if it's just for a short amount of time. It's better than being sad all the time, or hating yourself, or feeling like you're stuck in a rut and you can't get out of it, because you can. You're the only person that can get yourself out of a situation, whether it's saying, well, this job sucks, it's making me feel worse and worse. Well, it's time to get online and start looking for another job. Don't
Exactly.
quit your job and then try to look. You keep working, you find another job, you do a few interviews, and then when you get the job, you say, okay, I'll start in 2 weeks, and then you go to work and you put in your notice.
Exactly.
But it's up to you to take control of your life, and it's not always easy. I mean, I cry a lot on my own. I have bad things that happen, or I watch a movie by myself because nobody wants to go to the movies with me, or nobody wants to go to the gym with me. I ask people to go to the gym with me all the time. Nobody wants to go. But I guess because the things that I feel are important in my life are not the same thing that other people think is important. But you know, I'm
They're
sure everybody
not the same
goes to
spot as you either, though. I mean,
do what?
they're not that same spot as you are either. You're kind of at a summit. You know where you want to be, and you can do what you're doing for quite a few more years. And you know that at some point you're going to be on the move again. You're going to be, with various crews or with something. But right now, it kind of feels like you're in almost like a mentoring position, just as an onlooker, as a friend of yours, and you're trying to get other people to their own summit on their own journeys. And that's
But in a little bit of that is true. I really feel like I do want to help other people because that is what makes me happy. But I look at others, like when you asked me to do this show with you, I was so um God, I can't even tell you. Just feel so honored to have somebody that cares enough to want to hear my opinion on something. And I know that sounds stupid, but it isn't to me. It's very um it's
personal.
heartwarming to me to know that somebody cares enough about me to want to hear my opinion. And I wish I could make other people feel the same way that I felt when you asked me if I would do it. So I guess it just
Amazing.
shows you how mushy I am, kind of person I am, because I'm very thankful for things that I get, and I wish other people could be more thankful and um, share with other people how thankful they are when someone does something for them, even if it's just something little. You know, um, I don't know. I'm just so thankful that my mom. I had such a good mom to teach me to be happy when someone does something for you because they don't have to.
I I love what these two gentlemen just put in our chat. We like your opinion, Ms. Planet, says the woke breaker.
Thank
And
you. I
Shadow and
appreciate
Sun.
it.
Don't cry, Janet. There's lots of folks just like you out there, and you're amongst friends here.
And I love that. That's the one thing I really love about YouTube. The people that run YouTube are a bunch of buttheads, but the people that are in YouTube that make YouTube what it is are the people that I really feel a kinship with. Because before I even had my own channel, I was in the chats. I loved it. I would got in every chat I could possibly get in, and that's how I met lots of people. And I one day I'm gonna get to go to a meet and greet and meet a bunch of people, and all I know is their name. I don't know them, and they only know my name. And it would be cool to get to go. And I was so excited about getting to go to Las Vegas when Gary and all the people from Friday Night Tights were going to do that get together. But because of COVID and because I would not get vaccinated to fly on a plane or wear a mask all day and just all that dumbness. I just said I can't do it this time. Maybe next time I'll get to do it, and hopefully I will get to, because that would be really fun to get to do that and put real faces to the names. That would be fun. But I'm simple. I mean, I don't have to have a lot of I don't know, a lot of stuff.
We don't need to
What
be
I
doing
have
the meetup at
my
a resort. We could have it at like a a state park, or we could have just like a picnic pavilion with about 40 people that we know and we've been with and we've hung out with and streamed with before,
You
and
just have a big tour bus and take us all to New Orleans and
God.
party downtown. That's all we gotta do, or something
Okay,
like
guys, who's your
that.
drinking buddy? You guys need to be together the whole time.
Well, we'd all take over a bar. You know what I mean? If you have a group of 20 people, you just go down the street and you walk into a bar and you take over. And then you go to the next bar.
Yeah.
That's what you do in NOLA, you know.
And we did that overseas with the Defender. I mean, Newcastle on Tyne River, beautiful little place, beautiful little city. It's not really quote unquote little, but it is little. Um, we got there and we couldn't go up the river any further because there's this giant hydraulic bridge that it pivots about 5 or 6 feet off the river surface, and that was for traffic. That was the first hydraulic powered pivot
Hmm.
bridge. We're not getting past that. So we stopped there right next to Flynn's on the waterfront, which is now closed, sadly. And here I am, like a class drunk, and I'm talking about a bar that closed down. How sad! But it's funny because we ported up next to that, and that city for 6 days dealt with us sailors, and we went and we drank Flynn's out of beer. We drank a few other pubs out of beer, and we had a fun time. I'm really happy we didn't get another refreshment of paychecks while we were there because we would have spent even more money.
Yes.
And I sampled my first Newcastle brown ale there, and that was way back in the '90s. I don't know if it was actually called Newcastle brown ale, but they called it the brown ale. And so I'm like, oh yeah, I'll try it. It's beer. 20-year-old me had a lot of fun, and I would recommend anybody that if you grew up in a small town like me and you felt like you were ready to take on the world, go for it. Yeah, go Navy. Go. Don't, there's other services. Yeah, there's 3 other services, but go Navy because you're not gonna. If you get on a ship, you're gonna have things happen you won't have happen otherwise in your life, like going a trip to Europe where you're not paying for it. And so you do things like that, and I can tell stories about the 3 nights where we destroyed Flynn's beer supplies, or the time when a buddy of mine went sailing out of a plate glass window, and I had to put my whiskey down, and I probably shot myself in the foot with that one pretty lady, but he had to get to the infirmary because he had a cut on his head.
Yeah.
Just stupid things like that.
But the thing is, your memories now, nobody can take that from you.
Exactly.
And
Uh,
that's important. And that's the sad thing that I've seen over the last, what, 3 years, I guess, is that people aren't making memories because they're
no,
stuck
they're not.
or they're depressed because, half the family won't talk to them because either they got the vaccine or they wouldn't. I mean, once I got didn't get the vaccine, I told people I wasn't going to get it. I had a lot of people, they hounded me constantly. When you're going to die, and if you catch it, you're going to die if you don't get the vaccine to make it. At first, they were saying the vaccine's going to keep you from getting it. And then once they got it, they caught COVID after they got the vaccine. They're saying, well, it'll keep you from getting sicker than you would have if you didn't get it. And I'm like, I just don't understand it. They said right off the bat that you have a 99.9% chance of not dying from it if you're young and healthy, whatever. And I'm like, why should I get a vaccine and risk my life since I have allergies, and my own allergy doctor said, don't get it. We don't know what's in it. We don't know. And you'll probably have a stroke or you'll have a really adverse reaction. And why risk dying from something that you have a 99% chance of not even dying from it if you do
No,
get it? And I
I
haven't,
good.
because I'm
Go
very careful. I wash my hands a lot. I keep my house clean. And when I go shopping, I wipe stuff down with my wipes because I kept them in my purse before the sickness started because I have allergies. So I don't know. I just don't understand none of this. What is that?
A big ass brick of soap.
What do you do with a brick of soap?
You lather it up on your glorious naked body, and you scrub, and then you
Oh,
smell much better. this,
oh, I'm
this is
gonna
the
use
best
it to
soap
cut
in
up.
America,
I thought
made
you were
in
gonna carve
Minnesota.
it.
Say again.
I thought you were going to carve it with a knife or something.
Oh no, 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 no. I wouldn't destroy this wonderful, wonderful $7 of soap here. It'll last me about a month and a half, maybe 4 weeks if somebody else dives into it. But this is a about a month of scrubby, and I know that there's cheaper ways to stay clean. This is the best way I've found to stay clean. I'm a plumber. I touch shit on a daily basis. You guys can have your low tier Zest or Irish Spring or whatever it is that you use. I get it; they're cheaper. I'm investing this in my skin. I'm not getting sick, and I've had COVID twice. I'm not a doctor. We're not doctors, but I will tell you that speaking from practical experience and from somebody in the hospital for 3 weeks, uh, I've not been back since then. And one of my main doctors at the VA, he's had COVID 3 times since September. And I don't understand how he can keep getting it over and over and over. Don't you have all your shots? Didn't you get your boosters? Did you get your boosters? Yeah, I got all of my boosters. I'm on booster number 5 now. I'm thinking, okay, get off that racetrack. You're doing laps. Stop it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand. I really don't. But I'm thankful that I haven't gotten sick. But now I am hearing people talking about keeping an eye on your chickens to make sure they're not lethargic or these certain symptoms. And if you think they might be sick, then you take them and get a test at the co-op or whatever. And or to just separate them from your other chickens or whatever. But I haven't noticed anything with my chickens.
Can we test the testing kits at the co-op with a chicken we know is not sick first? That way we can see a true negative before we allow our chickens to be
Well,
tested. That
honestly, I don't trust any of these tests any more than I trusted the one to stick up my nose. And I've never let anyone stick one of those up my nose because I think they're giving me something, not testing me for something.
testing you. They're administering something, and yeah, I can see where that would come out. I can see
Well,
that.
I was really sick, and when I went to the emergency room, I knew what it was because I'm very susceptible to medicine and all that stuff. But I had a bad sinus and ear infection because I get them a lot because of my allergies. But I was dehydrated. Oh, so dehydrated after 3 or 4 days of not really drinking a lot because I was laying there because I was nauseated. It's bad nausea. So when I went to the emergency room and they put those things on my chest and on my back to check my heart, and they put me on an IV, and I used 2 bottles of IV or bags of IV fluid in 3 hours. I was like really dehydrated, but they wanted to test me for COVID, and I go, "You're not sticking that up my nose."
Find
So they
another method.
said, "We'll take your blood," and I said, "That's fine." So I watched them, because I've given donated blood and done all that stuff. So I watched the 2 girls, the nurses, and I made sure they wiped it off and everything, and then they took the blood, and then they left, and I just laid in there and tried not to be. I guess I had dry heaves really bad, even though I hadn't eaten anything, but a little bit later, it seemed like minutes, but because I kept dozing off and stuff. But the doctor come in, but he was stood right by the door. That was the first time I even saw the doctor. He didn't even come near me, and he goes, "We can't find anything wrong with you." And I was like, "I told you I have a sinus infection." "Well, why are you nauseous?" And I said, "Because I have drainage in the back of my throat, and I'm very sensitive to that. It makes me nauseous. Just give me something to make me not nauseous, and then I can start eating something." And as soon as I did, and I started feeling like it was going away. I don't remember what they gave me. It was some kind of, I don't know, I can't even pronounce the word. They gave me a shot, and then they gave me a patch and put it behind my ear, like Dramamine or something for people with vertigo, whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
And after a few days, I was right back to normal again. Once I started taking my antibiotic that I needed for my sinus infection, which I shouldn't have waited 2 weeks. That's the thing. I knew I had it, and I didn't go to the doctor like I should have to get my antibiotic. And I could have just made a phone call and did an over the phone thing because I do this so often. She would have known because I pretty much know when I have something now, for years and years and years of doing it. And I'm almost about to start. It's been, yeah, I'm gonna be on my 4-year mark of allergy shots.
I was thinking about starting a routine of those, but I'm going to wait about another 6 months because I've been doing well this year. We have had a lot of the mountain cedar down here,
Mhm.
and so I've found out that wildflower honey works really good for me. And I try to drink that about one bottle every 3 weeks.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, you can't take any kind of antihistamines or anything before you have your test. I think it's like a couple of days at least, and then when you go in, just do these little. They touch you with a needle on your back or wherever they decide to do it uh, to see if you have a reaction, and then if you do, they'll know what you're allergic to, and then they'll make your serum. Well, that's pretty. What do you do with all your little uh, figures?
On every other Saturday, I run a third edition engine Dungeons and Dragons game.
Mm-hmm.
And I use the figurines for the what happens in combat. Whenever players meet a new character in the world, I try to have a figure ready for them. That's what I do.
And you keep track of how many figures are characters.
Yeah,
So,
I generally have names for them already set up, and I can usually recall. I'll keep them on the table, or I have a weird table set up in the front room. I have a top table with a battle mat on it, and that's where the majority of the camera work is. Occasionally, I'll let people see under that table is another table big enough for people to have their laptop or tablets or whatever, so they can do whatever they need to with their electronic player character sheet. Excuse me, and it's a good way for the players to be able to have space for their character sheet. But I don't see the character sheet on the battle mat. I have the battle mat, which is the grid and scenery and the figurines, and they have an idea of what's going on, what's in front of them right now. It gives them spatial awareness. So that's what I do with all these.
wow, it just seems like you've got so many of them. I didn't realize there was that many different characters in that game because it's an endless world, isn't it? No boundaries.
There are boundaries in it, but they're huge. The boundaries in this are massive. So I mean, whenever I say that you have an opportunity to meet over the course of maybe 3 years of the game, probably about 5,000 different characters, get to know them probably about 100 to 150 characters because our game sessions last 4 to 7 hours every weekend where we play. So I feel pretty blessed and able to enrich my friends' lives and give them this little narrative, this make believe game. Oh, Shadow and Sun wants to see the character we use for him. Hold on.
So do you guys each pick your own character and what your abilities are, or do you earn abilities as you play the game? Because I've never played, but it
Um,
sounds interesting. So many people that are telling me how
yeah,
much fun they have when they play.
you have a choice of what race and class you play, and that kind of helps alter the dice, the
Hmm.
die rolls that make your character's skeleton. Um,
Yeah, but is it fair? I mean, when okay, let's say you've been playing for uh, a year, okay, and then you have a new person that comes in and they're brand new. They don't have any skills and abilities yet. So how is that fair for that person who's new to play against people who've been playing for a year? See what
well,
I
we
mean?
don't have them play against each other, not usually, but they also will be brought up to a level that'll be about the same level, not quite completely the same level. They'll be just a little bit under, but they'll be at least be able to contribute, and hopefully they will have a different skill set so everybody can make contributions to the game narrative that would be preferable.
Yeah.
Hey, DM James, how you doing?
So how many women do you have?
Um, Female figures or female players? Because
Female
right now
play.
I've only had two in this campaign so far.
That's interesting. You have to send me some stuff on Discord and explain it to me so and see if I can try something like that. You want me to do it once a week?
Every other week. I'm pretty certain Shadow and Sun is getting the package together for you right now. Wait, Janet wants to play. Janet wants to play.
Well,
Oh!
I've never played, so I don't want to bring everybody down because I don't understand what's going
Oh
on. That's why
no,
I'd like to
it's
get
it's
information and stuff. So when if I do start, I don't it hurt other people from getting to play it the right way because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Does that make sense?
makes a lot of sense. But
I would like a character though, with lots of feathers or something. I think I'm looking at the ones that I've been watching you paint all the
yeah,
times I've been watching some of your streams and stuff. I want something that's really colorful and that's got feathers on it. I mean, does that make sense? I don't know what kind of characters you can have. You know what I mean? But it would be cool to have a character that looked like that.
I've got an idea for something. We'll talk in the future about this.
Okay, sounds great.
That I'm gonna get in my photos real quick on my phone and just drop something in your Discord.
Discord.
Quick. You can you can see my level of insanity that I've got here.
Because I think your stuff is really cool. I've only painted just a couple of little people, and man, I didn't think I'd ever get finished because it was so hard. I don't know how you're doing it. You know, the picture I sent you of my villains and heroes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I sold that for 900, so yeah, I did really good. But I hand painted Deadpool and Ultron because I wanted a character in front of each picture, and it turned out really good. But it was hard. I mean, it was really hard because I only have a few cheap brushes that I use to make certain things, and mine is not anything like that detailed and stuff. But I use two white venom agents because I got a whole bunch of them. Uh, and they're metal, the little 2-inch metal characters, and I just painted them, and they turned out really good. I thought.
That's great. That See, the thing is that you have to get at least to the point where when you're painting the character, you can see it animate in front of you. And
Well, I can pretty much see all of those people doing certain things, all the characters that I've seen you working on in my imagination, because I've got a really good imagination. I think it's just that I didn't have a decent brush, and I was like, God, I hate to go buy a expensive brush to paint two characters. You know what I
this
mean?
brush right here cost me $4.50. It's a Princeton brand.
Is it got a fine tip on it?
No, it does not.
Let me
The
see.
fine tip brushes might cost you like between $7 and $10.
Yeah, my sister Sandy, she used to do nails, and she'd have these real fur, animal fur, you know, brushes. I can't remember what kind of mink or and some other stuff, that beaver hair or something. I don't know. They were all different kinds of whether you needed a soft bristle or a tough bristle, depending on what they had, just to do nail work because she was did the little artsy stuff on people's nails. And I was tempted to go get one from her, but I didn't. I ended up making do with the ones I had, but it turned out all right. And then I put a clear coat over them, like a not glossy, it was a matte, but it was a coat so that maybe it wouldn't, chip off or whatever. But hopefully the kid will never open it, the case, because it's meant to be a collectible. I'm going to send you that video. I thought I did. I might have already, but you can tell me if I did or not.
Right. You should be seeing some things pop up on your Discord here in just a moment.
Okay, well, I just now got on Discord. I'm going to send you this video because I want you to see it. I'm trying to find the good one where I'm close up on it, where you can see the characters.
Excellent. Yeah, needles and toothpicks is one way I'm going to start doing my eyes a little bit better from now on. I found a video showed me how to do eyes. So, yeah, we'll talk about it at a later point here, Janet. Definitely.
Okay.
Shadow and Sun. I'm actually using a figure from the Lord of the Rings game from 2003 as the character for you. Parrot Head, I do not have the first figure I ever painted. That was a Cyclops figure, and it was one of those old Grenadier blobs of pewter with very poor detail on it. But I got most of it right. DM James says I met my wife at a D&D game. Shadow and Sun says, Janet, you would love it. If you like video games, you're halfway there.
Because one of my games was Baldur's Gate. So is it anything like that?
Very much.
Okay, well, I love that game. That was my very favorite.
Imagination's half the battle. I started painting with needles and toothpicks back in the early 70s. Have I ever seen the 000 brush? They're very helpful. I have seen them. I don't want to buy one for $30. They can get expensive. Janet, what who is it my turn to pick a movie this time or no?
Yes, your turn. I picked that one we just watched.
Okay, I'm going to pick a perennial favorite.
Mhm.
When I say this, I'm in the mood to watch. I'm in the mood to watch The Final Countdown with Kirk Douglas.
Sorry,
Okay.
a pencil so I could write this down. I don't know if I've seen this.
What?
Yeah, let me write it down.
The Final Countdown.
Countdown with Kirk Douglas.
Yes. This is a 1980 film. And I'll just say that he's a captain on the USS Nimitz.
I really don't
think Navy film.
So it'll be another new movie for me. But I'm excited because my mom really loved Kirk Douglas, and so did my dad. So
Does your dad live pretty close?
Do what?
Does your dad live pretty close or no?
Well, he was 3.5 hours away in one way, but Sandy and I went and picked him up yesterday and brought him back to Sandy's house. So tomorrow I will be at my sister's house while she's at work, staying with my dad.
If he's in the mood to watch a movie, if you can get the internet over there, or
yeah, it's better. She's closer to the city and stuff, so yeah, she's got way better service than me. Because remember, I have a booster just to use my cell phone where I'm at up on the mountain.
Yeah, yes, Shadow and Sun. This movie that I'm asking you to watch is when I say perennial favorite, like as soon as I saw that or said that, my Discord kind of lit up a little bit. What? What?
Oh, for me?
Like,
what is from? You thought it was for me though?
No. I know. I saw the picture of the media that you just sent me.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at it.
That's the video of the picture I made, and then I painted two of the characters that you see on there. I painted the Deadpool and the Ultron, because see, they're underneath their characters, and I wanted you to see them because I wanted it to be a collectible, because I'm never going to make another one. I only make one of any of the pictures that I make, period. That's why I'm really thinking the more I do on this one I'm working on right now with the Star Trek picture I'm working on, the more I'm like, oh God, I'm gonna want to keep this one. But where am I gonna put it? I got no open walls, so I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm hoping I can part with it.
Dave Cullen has me watching old Star Trek the motion picture stuff because he just did a Star Trek the motion picture rewatch about a week ago, and then this
Hmm.
week he looked at Star Trek Five, which is my least favorite Star Trek movie
Hmm.
ever. And for me, Star Trek died. Star Trek is dead after Star Trek Beyond. As much as others are like, "Oh, I hate those movies." Okay, for the three movies that J.J. Abrams made, I can watch them. They're
Hmm.
not they're not high art, but they're much better than Picard or Discovery
Yeah,
or whatever else.
part or Discovery. But I love dressing up in my Star Trek uniforms. I have an Andorian wig. I bought all the blue ink to do my skin, my legs, everything to go to a con and get to wear it. I can't wait till one day. I had all this to take to Vegas because I had tickets to the Star Trek convention. But I gave my tickets to Nerdrotic and his wife since they were already there to go to the ball and everything because I couldn't get my money back anyways. So yeah, I was really depressed over that whole thing. I really wanted to go, but boy, I was pissed off about stupid COVID crap ruining everything. But I was real excited. I had four costumes, a costume to wear each day of con, and I just was, I was looking forward to it. So I still have all that. I'm gonna wear it one day when I get to go to another one, if they ever have one. But we'll see.
There's got to be a non-COVID give a shit mindset for one of these conventions coming up.
I know. I hope so. It'd be great. But the thing is, you got to remember, all the stars and everything that are in any of these shows are all mostly liberals. So you're going to have a bunch of paranoid freaks that are afraid for you to come near them because you might make them sick and die of a disease after they've had 40 shots that supposedly should help them. But I don't know. I don't understand it. But I can still wear my costume and just get pictures taken with fans. I've done that before. So I could do that. I can handle it. But I have the red uniform. I have a blue uniform. I have my doctor's, case and a couple other things, because I collect a lot of that stuff. I just wish I could have, I wish we could live in a place that, where they have those, all that stuff where they could beam you up and do all that. It would be so cool. Now, years ago, when I went to Las Vegas, they had the Star Trek experience at one of
Mhm.
the casinos. I can't remember which one it was, if it was Bally's or one of them. But I went and I spent these almost 7 hours there, just going through every single thing they had. And I got kidnapped by the Borg, and I got my pictures taken in, as being kidnapped and all that stuff. It was a fun. And I bought the captain's seat tickets and did the VIP thing for that. And I went to Quark's Bar and I got Ramlin Ale, and I just had a blast. But I was all by myself. Didn't have anybody with me. I was all by myself because nobody wanted to go. They thought it was stupid. So even though I'm a grown woman, I'm still a nerd, and nobody wants to spend time with me. But my sister and I did buy tickets and we went to go see Tom Jones. My sister wanted to see him so bad. And I tipped the waitress and we got moved right to the front, right next to the stage.
Huh.
And I wish so bad that my mother could have went with us, but she had already passed away, but it was fun. But you can't have everything we want. But I loved it. I had a good time.
We're
The thing, these are all we have is these memories that we collect doing things that we enjoy. But I finally have met people I'm starting to meet more and more people that love uh, different things as much as I love, Star Trek and some of the comic book characters that I love and all that stuff. I'm finally meeting other people, like-minded people, and my life is getting better because I'm getting to talk about things that I like, that I've always wanted to do. And I was always an outcast because of it, because I didn't fit in.
I
And it's
know.
I feel like I fit in now, and I can be myself, and I have to pretend like I don't talk about that, because everybody's like going to look at you like you're a weirdo. But now I don't have to worry about that. I can talk about it, and people won't look at me that way because they're the same way. So I
I,
enjoy it.
as much as I hate the show, I don't hate it, but I don't like how it really tried to portray the geek culture. But Big Bang Theory did a lot of good for the geek culture in
I
a
love
broad
that
brush
show.
sense. It made it to where normal people wouldn't feel shame for going to a D&D store or a Star Trek convention. They wouldn't feel kind of stupid for trying to get Mark Hamill's autograph.
Yep.
And I think I got to thank that, because that was probably one of the biggest motivating factors in pop culture here. The other things might be like Will Wheaton with his geek stuff on the early days of the internet, or Critical Role for my tabletop thing. But I really got to, I'm going to lay the altar at the altar of blame, like why we do have a bigger tent nowadays is because of shows like The Big Bang Theory. And there was other times in pop culture where you had things creeping in. I mean, we had Stranger Things bringing
Mm-hmm.
back Dungeons and Dragons,
Love that
and
show.
so the first season of it, it showed you that the kids really enjoyed playing the game, and it they had their own box set for the basic rules, and so you can see how it did affect the manufacturer of the world's oldest RPG, and you can see the effect that it had on a lot of store games. Because if we go into the stores here in town, there's still 18 and 19-year-old kids that saw that show when they were 12 or 13, and they were like, I want to play that game. That looks cool. And so
Yeah.
they're waiting for season 2 to come out, and they go to the local gaming store, and they become part of like the Adventurers League or something, and they just started getting into that. And so they start delving into it because they wanted to see exactly what it was about. And once people start finding out about it, they kind of dive head first and go whole hog into it because it is a big, expansive thing. And there's a lot of moving parts in it. And once people kind of, okay, I'm settled on this rule set. I want to play this type of character. I want to do these types of things. Can we make it to where I can have this character in your game? And that's typically how the DM and how the player typically will talk to each other about that and be like, well, I've got this kind of going on right now, or I have these things. Here's your options that I can help you with, and I'll put you with this player at the table, and he's going to help you have a character that things will still be a challenge, but you're going to be in a better set of capacity to deal with life if you go about with these things to help you proceed along the way. And I
Mhm.
think a lot of tables have that. A lot of tables have their own guru. Like for Bruce's game, you want to have a character that does this. You don't want to have a character that does this because he hates these type of characters here. And don't have a pet, because your pet will probably die, and that will cause the DM a lot of joy when he sees you cry at the table. So
Yeah.
you have things like that, but I think every table has their own idiosyncrasies, and that's one place where we'll talk about that later too. But you have the tables have not really changed much in the past 30 years I've played. The
Mm-hmm.
tables have been basically the same, where you'll have like one or two people that have a great idea of what's going on. You'll have other group of individuals, like three or four, which want to be long-term players, and they might be long-term players for that table. And then you'll have like two or three people that will be like, oh, we're just kind of here because there's nothing else to do on this Saturday afternoon. And they'll be there for 6 or 8 games. And then they'll be like, all right, guys, I found something cooler. Be good. Take care. Get lots of experience points. and that's how that kind of works. But most tables I try to foster, I try to get my table to be long termers, and I think a lot of DMs they angle for that same thing. They don't look at it like this is just a stupid little hobby I'm going to give up in about 3 years when they switch editions. No,
Yeah.
most DMs I know are like, I have an entire garage dedicated to the game, or my attic is my streaming room. Like for Shadow Sons, he's got an entire room dedicated for painting and streaming. So
Well,
he
how
does.
much space do you have to have for your board or whatever it is that you're talking about?
How big do you want it to be? That's the thing.
Yeah, but see, I don't know. I have no idea because I have
A,
no idea.
a regular game needs about 2 feet for 2 feet, 2 by 2 area for the mat to be rolled out and the action to take place. A lot of DMs don't really even use these. They use like little pogs at best, but they do something called theater of the mind where they just will have everything described to you,
Hmm.
and so they get into these games and they don't even have this for spatial awareness. They just go on what the DM says, and they'll try to take notes as he's describing everything, and they will reply as how they're going to react and how they're trying to plan ahead and try to articulate how they're going to succeed. And
So
Shadow,
basically, it's like little teams, and you're trying to battle different teams and
sometimes different
move
teams,
on and
sometimes,
follow quests, things like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay, well, see that sounds like very interesting to me. It sounds like something um, I might be able to do okay, and because I do like to try to figure out ways to to solve stuff, and I love puzzles, and I love search and find games and things like that. Just different things like that where you have to use your imagination.
That's
I like
awesome.
a lot, so maybe I might be able to be halfway good at it.
Shadow Stone's there dropping links or dropping information. Dude, any dinner table, you could do it at a dinner table. All you need is comfy chairs and an open mind with an active imagination. And he's mostly true there. He's very correct. It says usually a team effort. So Janet is usually it's a team effort that will help save the day. Um,
I've got a couple places I was looking at in my office because I'd want to have it somewhere where I don't have to worry about anybody touching it. And say I could
yeah,
shut my door and lock it or whatever, and so people aren't getting it because I have a lot of my favorite collectibles and stuff in here because you know I pick them up and touch them and stuff, but um, I wouldn't want other people to get them.
now, can I share your Discord in my general chat?
Do my what?
Can I share your Discord?
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Okay, because I think there might be some people here that are watching this tonight that would like to become a member or a definite member of
Do you do
your,
that
your little
Discord
guild.
on your Discord? Is that where you play your game?
We actually use it StreamYards, and then it
Oh,
airs
okay.
to YouTube.
Okay. Okay. Well, you can have to explain all this stuff to me. I'm very hard headed and hard to understand sometimes.
It's good. It's good. Let me put this in here. It is we've been running this for 2 hours and 38 minutes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, our time always goes by fast.
Yeah. It's because it's because we're having a good time. Usually, when it's ticking by really slow, that means that it's time to get out. You know what I mean?
That's for
Is
certain.
that an elf character?
It is.
Is it? As I was looking at it.
And I'm just adding a little bit of a wash here to get some dirt under its fingernails because I could have figures that are really just clean and they have the right amount of like shine to them, but I want my characters in my game world to look like they've recently just kind of come out of a burrow and they've just fought for their lives, and
Mm-hmm.
I want them
One
to
was
look.
being realistic.
Yeah, like if you just saw the paints on my shelf here, you'd see that I have more varieties of brown on my shelf then is in the video game Quake, which is a very brown game, and for good reason, because that game is it's there to scare you. You're supposed to be fearful because you're going in the dark in the earthen mounds, and you're fighting for your life among the followers of Shub Nagurath, and
Hmm.
so you're having all these fearful events happen to you, and so they didn't make it black. It's not completely pitch black, but the game is plays in the dark very well. So I when I was putting my paint palette together, I'm like, I want lots of browns. I think I have probably 75 different shades of brown.
And but do you do these characters for other people that play with you in this game?
Yeah, a lot of the players, whenever I run a game, I will host. And so the other players don't really need a table. They just need to be at a comfy chair and have like a clipboard for their character sheet. Or if they have an electronic character sheet, they need to have a program running on their tablet or phone so they can keep track of stuff.
Hmm.
But I run everything on my table, and during positioning, I'll usually have markers like A, B, C, D, E, F for the grid on one side, and then I'll have the rows set up for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so people can say like, "Hey, move me to this location because I want to be in this area so I can heal my friend Tom," or "Move me over here to Shadow and to Chris so I can make sure that I include them with my healing burst," or "Hey, I need to be right in this guy's face. Charge me up ahead 12 inches to that guy." And so they will tell me things like that, and so that's why when you play a game with miniatures, you need a little bit more space than usual. But the result for me is I think the game it does slow down a little bit with miniatures, but I think it for me it feels more fulfilling
Yeah,
because the players
visual.
have an
You have
idea
a
of what
visual. It's like a visual aid that brings your game to life in front of you.
for me that's exactly what it does, and I'm very okay with that. Janet, I enjoy talking to you all the time on here. This is becoming like one of the highlights of my week because it's like,
Thank you. I've enjoyed it because I've learned so many things that you think you can't. I don't know. I don't. You think you can't absorb more information or find out something new about something, and then you do. You know what I mean? It's very fun, but I enjoy it a lot because it gives me, especially in the areas of things that I'm interested in, which I don't have that many people, in my family or my friends in my close circle that are interested in any of this stuff. So I have to get all of mine from other people because
that's
they don't understand it. They come in here and they look around and they're just like, what the. And I could make a video and show everybody what my room looks like, and they go, wow, that's cool. That's the type of people I don't have in real life. These are all online people that understand the feelings I feel when I pick up a comic book and open it. You know what I mean?
yes.
So it's just sad because there's just not enough of us left in the world. It doesn't seem like at least now I have an opening, a way of meeting these people that I didn't have for so long in my life, and I just had to enjoy it on my own basically because there wasn't anybody around that was interested. I mean, I was married to a guy and I'm writing scripts and stories and stuff, and they not what haven't read a single thing I've done because I didn't think it was in. They just like, it's not what I'm interested in. And if they'd written something, I would have read it. You know, I don't know. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about.
Well, Janet, if you ever write something, let me take a look at it. Be happy to give you
Well,
critique.
the Comic Relief Crusader on Twitter, we were talking the other day, and he was talking about some stuff, and I sent him a DM because I didn't want to tell everybody else on Twitter that certain things that I'm into, screenwriters pages and websites and stuff. And so I sent them the information. I said, if you want to read some of my work, go to this website, and when you request it on the website, then I can send it to you so you can read it and see what you think. So he's excited about it. So I need to try to do that tomorrow sometime and log in and approve his downloading of my information or my screenplays and stuff. So I'm excited about having somebody, somebody outside of the people that are on the website that I know in a different genre to be able to read it and tell me if they think it sucks or if they like it or not. So we'll see. Do you guys know Agent Decimal?
I've seen him in some of the chats.
Okay, well, he's on Discord and stuff, and we were in one of the rooms. It's not mine. This was before I even started my own channel, and they were talking about some different stuff. And I said, "So you guys like vampires?" And they were like, "Yeah, kinda, maybe. I don't like glittery ones, that kind of stuff." So I sent him a link to my story blog, and he was reading it, and he was giving me good feedback. I mean, he was the first guy that I was able to get to read my story, and he was telling me stuff about my characters and stuff like that, because I had a lot of guys in it. And my most basically one of the strongest characters in my story is a warlock, but he's a vampire warlock, and he thought that character, he really liked that character. So I don't know. I've been working on this story since I was in high school, and I had a nightmare, and that nightmare made me start writing stuff down, and I finally was able to start writing it. So I'm finished with chapter 10, and I'm about to start on chapter 11. And I'm hoping this is the last chapter, because I already have the ending written. I just have to take where I'm at and put it at the end. But so I like to write. I like to I just like to do everything. I'm always dabbling in something because I don't like to be bored.
I know that feeling.
So I'm constantly doing something. I like to be busy. I like to be talking or painting or drawing or making something, crocheting, doing something, writing, and I enjoy it. It makes me feel good, even if nobody reads it, but I still have it myself.
I understand that. I have a book that has probably been read less than 7,000 times on Smashwords. I completely understand that. And
Now, you have a story online?
I've got a couple of them, but I stopped after I realized that the more I wrote, the more it was coming true, and I'm like, fuck no. And I I wrote like a like elves and dragons and magic in modern day, kind of like it was inspired by Shadowrun and that horrible show, The 24,
Mm-hmm.
with Kiefer Sutherland, and it was okay, but like the more I wrote, the more the things that I was writing about was happening in real life. So I just was like, "Fuck it, I'm done.
Oh,
I'm
you
not
feel
gonna."
like you're cursing all of us?
Yeah, basically, like the big dragon that got elected president got killed in the third book, which I had never released, but the uh, the people behind the dragon, they made a bunch of television episodes and a bunch of special effects wizards made the dragon come back to life. So nobody knew the dragon really died. Don't pay attention to the reflecting pool by the Washington Monument, or by the Jefferson Monument, and don't look too closely at that big dragon carcass getting hauled out of the water. Pay attention over here where the dragon's at speaking. Don't look at that dead dragon. Just the more that I was doing with
Look at
that
the shiny.
poetry, the more I wrote, the more I became miserable because I'd do that and I'd listen to Rush or listen to Hannity, and then like shit was happening, and I'm like, I'm doing the world. I'm hexing the world with this miserable reality in my fantasy fiction, and
Well, it was probably because you were bouncing off of the things that were going on around you
yeah,
and putting it into a fantasy realm, but you were basically your subconscious mind was knowing what's going about to happen or about could happen, and you were putting it into your story. So
and
that's why it seemed like the things that you were writing about was coming true in reality, because you were definitely zoned in on the politics part, and in your subconscious mind was just making it into a fantasy to write down. So it wasn't really that it was coming true. It was the fact that your premonitions of what you felt in your subconscious mind were coming true. But it wasn't because you wrote it. It was because your common sense was telling you this is what's going to happen in the future. At least that's what I would have told you if you were to tell me that story.
Pretty
Yeah.
close.
So uh,
Janet, I look
cool.
forward to.
I'm sitting here working on my picture that I sent you. I think I sent it to you. My Star Trek thing I'm working on. Did I send it to
Yeah.
you?
You've mentioned it before, and you sent me a photo of it a week ago. No, 2 weeks
I
ago.
just sent you a new one. I thought on Discord. Let me look because I thought I did because let me see. Oh, I didn't. I'm gonna send it to you real quick because this is what I've been working on during this whole thing while you were painting. I was working on a picture. Oh, that's right. I sent it to your email. Remember, because it wouldn't go through Discord. It's too big.
That's right. That's right.
Check your email when you get a chance and let me know what you think. It's turning out so good. I'm gonna have to roll it out with a rolling pin because it's on glue. See, there's glue on this canvas, and I'm trying to get the rhinestones to stick to it and make sure they're in there real good. Because then I also decoupage it when I'm finished. But I want to make sure all my rhinestones are sticking into the glue really good, so I don't lose any. But so I see you're creative, working on your creative juices are flowing while you're talking about something, and I'm doing the same thing. But I'm working on a different type of picture. But
I didn't want to have a stream where I was the focus of it. I wanted to be able to do what I've been. I think about this all the time at work.
mm-hmm.
So I want to paint figures, and I know that sounds
Do
weird.
it. I think it's good. I'm working on my stuff. It's
Oh
just
yeah,
that you can't see it because I want people to see me as my character, not as me working on this picture.
yeah, fair enough. Um, we will be back next week, roughly between 7:30 and 8 p.m. I would prefer to start at 7:30, but if we start at 8, I'm not upset. The fact we get started all makes me happy because uh, I find your perspective to be really fun to talk to about movies because you kind of know the industry a little bit. You've been around there. You've got
And I'm really
you've
glad
got familiarity with it.
liked the two choices that I've made so far. They have been movies you haven't seen, which has been interesting. So that too.
Yeah. I mean, I find it weird that you've never seen the final countdown before, but I'll accept it. I'll allow it.
But I had seen Dreamscape, so our dream
Dreamscape with Dennis
brain,
Quaid.
yeah, the brainstorm or whatever it's called again.
Okay,
On
Dreamscape.
that
Okay.
number. I don't know why I do that because it had to do with the thing on the head. I keep saying brain. I don't know,
Happens.
but that's the one movie I did see before. But so far, this second movie that you've recommended, this is going to be the third one now. I haven't seen this one yet.
I'm looking forward to hearing your discussion on it because this is a movie that my grandfather fell in love with back in 81 or 82 when we watched it the first time. And ever since then, it's just one of those movies. It's kind of like a Die Hard level of film. The first Die Hard movie, if I'm walking through somewhere and I see Die Hard's on, I will do a priority check, and if I'm not doing something important, I will sit down and watch the rest of Die Hard. This is exactly that same level of quality film for me because it's got a lot of sentimental value to me, and my father and I, we bonded over it. I mean, my grandfather really likes this movie. I know, he every time it's on, he'll wake up at 3 in the morning to watch HBO because he doesn't have to work tomorrow, so he can watch the
Mhm.
final countdown again. Because they'd have it on at 7, and it'd come on at 3 in the morning, and then they'd show it again in like 2 or 3 days. And my grandfather would make allocations. It was like the only film I remember him ever doing that with where he would watch this movie Probably saw it probably upwards of 70 times, this guy. And he was in his 60s when it came out. He loved it. So my dad's like, okay, well, I guess if we're going to be over at my dad's house, I guess this might be a movie that we see. So him and
Well,
mom
I'm
watch it.
excited about it. If you thought it was a good movie and it was inspiring to you, then I think I'll enjoy it. So
I think
can't wait to watch it, and especially something I haven't seen before.
if,
I mean,
if you're going to be in a chance to watch it with your dad, I would say go ahead and watch it because
yeah.
it's
So if tomorrow when I go over there, it's from 2 to 7 is when I'll be over there watching being with my dad, so he's not by himself. Um, until Sandy gets home from work. So I'll get to watch. I'll try to see if I can get him to watch it with me.
he'll love it if he's not seen it before. I'm thinking he
He
probably has.
probably has seen it before, but he probably won't remember when I tell him the name of it and stuff. So do you know if it's on Netflix or not?
It used to be on Netflix all the time. It used to be a staple.
Okay,
Let
well,
me let me check. Let me check its IMDb page.
Netflix, I know my sister does. So, because she's got a really nice, huge television set, so I'd be real excited to get to watch it and not have to watch it on my iPad or something.
This is one of those movies that you can see the practical effects in full display. They had a great special effects team for it. It is
Mm-hmm.
on it's on Tubi.
Tubi, okay.
Tubi.com. TubiTV.com.
All right, sounds good.
It's also for rental on Amazon on Prime Video.
Mm-hmm. I have that, but I don't know if Sandy has it. That's the thing. If Sandy doesn't have it, then I won't watch it over there. But I have that already. But
It's a classic movie. I got to thank you for showing me just one of the guys. I was really surprised that I liked it, and
good. I'm glad. I'm glad you enjoyed it because I really liked it, and I've seen it like 14, 15 times already. And it just the Buddy's character is just it just makes me laugh every time I watch it. He's just so funny.
he's a good character. And like I said, if they would have made a sequel of Buddy and Sherilyn Fenn just doing their thing, if they would just go to college together or have a family, it doesn't really matter. I mean,
Well, they're older now. They couldn't do it, but it would have been cute. I really think
yeah,
it
it
would.
would have been really cute if they would have capitalized on that.
Or even showing them in high school. Because remember, he was only 15. They could have went to their senior year, together or something as boyfriend and girlfriend, and then them going to college or getting married or something. They could have done a really cute little movie about it.
I would have enjoyed that.
But I'm glad that you liked his character because he was my favorite. I mean, Terry did a great job, or whatever her name is, uh, Hauser or whatever that actress.
Chris Heiser.
Yeah, but I just thought that she did a really good job at portraying a guy in her character. I thought it was believable for me, at least when I saw it when I was young. I thought she did a good job playing a guy, and but I really thought Buddy was the hit of the movie to me. And I could see why the director gave him so much leeway because he was so phenomenal.
Natural.
Yeah, he was a natural at the part. It was like that is almost like that's who he really was. Oh.
And that really, you don't get that many. I haven't seen many naturals in movies. The only real natural I've ever seen in a movie, I mean, aside from this, and it was he had a good 20, 30 minutes on screen, which was great, and he lived up to the part fantastically. Do you remember the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind?
Yes, I love that movie.
Okay, first movie I ever saw in theaters. I was 2. I remember the movie. Um, I've got to say that the part with Barry getting kidnapped out of the house by the visitors from the clouds,
Mm-hmm.
um, that's still like when I watch that scene puts a good fear of whatever in me because they did such a great job of, I think it's Beverly D'Angelo plays the mom, whoever the mother is in that movie, her reactions with Barry, while Barry is just like, "Oh, come on through the chimney, come through the vent," and he's telling the aliens how they can get inside the whole time, and he's just this innocent little boy
Oh, he was so
here to
cute.
play with me, and he was so good in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
He did
But the
nothing
kid that was in Sixth Sense, the boy that was
hit me
nominated for
off.
the Academy Award, yeah, I bawled my eyes out watching that because I felt so sad for that boy, seeing that every day, and how is he going to end up being a normal kid with what he's having to see on a daily basis? Because when he was telling them, "I see dead people," we didn't realize that he was one of the dead people he was seeing.
No, you don't
And
see
that
that.
was an excellent movie. I love that movie, and that kid was so cute. Kid was so cute. He looks way different now than he did. I mean, he didn't turn out as cute as I thought he would be as a kid, but
I'm sorry, I'm trying not to laugh, but
well, I
yeah,
mean, I thought he would be a lot cuter when he grew up.
he
But
he's done great in show business since then. He
hmm
was on the first season of The Boys.
yeah, I saw him in that. I thought he did good on that too. He played a very believable character that he seemed like he was actually petrified. So he did really good. But I
I
just so cute. He did a
Are you
very
familiar with a Minnesota goodbye?
no.
Okay, it's when you're at a friend's house and you're having fun, and you know the moment you say goodbye, you got tomorrow to look forward to, which is I have to go to bed now and I have to go get some sleep and I have to be at work in 8, 10, 12 hours, whatever.
Yeah. The chicken
Um,
thief.
yeah,
The
and like
uncle
you're
that won't
trying,
go home.
yeah, I really don't want to go home. I'm in the driveway. We're all saying goodbye. People are hugging each other, but we're out here for another half hour, 45 minutes, and we keep on
Yes.
talking.
I'm
Yeah,
really bad at that because I love to talk. You know, I love to gab. I love to, especially when it's talking about stuff that I really like. And that's all I'm going to do is get ready to go to bed. So I'll go in there and take my pill, my new sleeping pill that I've been trying to get used to help me sleep.
melatonin is my favorite, but that's just
Yeah, I
me.
can't take it because it makes me have horrible nightmares, even the lowest dose.
Oof, good.
And that's terrible. And I have a very good imagination already, and to wake up and not be able to go back to sleep because I, think I'm gonna die or something is just not worth it to take
No, that's
melatonin.
not good.
No, but oh well. We all,
Speaking of, Parrothead asks if you had ever seen the movie Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield.
it sounds familiar. Though I remember seeing the one where he's in Caddyshack, I guess. I remember seeing him in that. I'm trying to remember what other movies I've seen him in. I don't know. I'd have to watch the trailer and see. But you know what? I got to see him before he died in Las Vegas. I got to see him do his stand-up routine, and he was so dirty. I was so surprised how filthy he was, but he was funny. Everyone was rolling. And the whole stadium was, I mean, the whole place was packed with
Hmm.
people. So he was very popular. And um, I was asking the people I was with because I didn't understand a lot of it because they were telling me that he is traditionally, he'll find a good looking blonde in the audience and then he'll take off his red tie. He always wore a red tie. And then he'll take it and call the lady up stage and then give her a kiss and put the tie on her around her neck. And
That's all.
he did that on the show, and I thought that was really cool. But yeah, he was really funny. Because I'm the only people I think that actually goes to Las Vegas and goes to shows instead of spending all my money at the casino. Because what I did every day is I'd go and I'd sit at uh, in front of the Coca-Cola factory, and it's a little booth like place where you can buy tickets for half price, because I'd buy the ticket for the show that day that's going to be that night. So I didn't know what I was going to see until I went and saw what they had and how much it was going to cost me. So it's a cheaper way to go to Vegas, but actually get to go to shows and enjoy yourself. So I went and saw Carrot Top, and I went and saw the Girls of Glitter Gulch. I went and saw what was the name of that one? Oh darn! It was a rock and roll vampire show at um, the Stratosphere at the very end of the strip, and
I don't remember this.
they were vampires, and the vampire king was looking for a bride, and he would come out, send his minions out into the audience where we're all sitting and grab women that were, there were plants in it, but they would grab women and they were screaming and stuff, and they'd drag them up to the stage, and then they would tie him down and do all kinds of stuff. And then they had women coming from the ceiling, and they're half dressed women, because it's Vegas. Very good show, but they're singing like a rock opera music. It was freaking awesome. I think it was called Bite was the name of the show that I bought tickets to. Never heard of it until I went, but it was really good. So, that's the kind of stuff I do when I go to Vegas. Fun. I love Vegas, except under COVID.
I've not been to Vegas. I've been to Needles a lot. I've never been to Vegas.
I think I've been to Vegas 14, 15 times because you can get really cheap tickets. And if you buy tickets and you go to a travel agent or whatever, you go and you say you want to go, and you got two or three friends that can go with you. So it's cheaper when you have more people. And then you get the tickets for the plane, tickets for the hotel, and then you can get a couple tickets to different shows, in a package deal. And it's cheaper to do it that way because they want people to fill in those, the different casinos, or the different hotels. And each time I went into a different hotel. So I always pick something different than I went last time. So I got to go and stay at one of the only hotels that I have there's two hotels I would not ever buy tickets to, because when I just went into the casino and it smelled really musty, like it was one of the older ones like Circus and the Tropicana, or two that I would not buy. I would not want to stay in the hotel, because I don't know if I'd get sick from an allergy or something because of the way it smelled to me.
That's not good. That's not healthy.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying they're old, and you could tell they haven't spent money redoing things. They might have painted and done this and that, but it still had that smell. So why would it have that smell if they, took it down to the bare minimum and redid it? But you could tell they didn't.
That's sad. A friend of mine I used to work with, he loved Circus, but he was a rather girthy individual, and he
Yeah.
really enjoyed the buffet at Circus.
Mm-hmm.
And he liked the fact that they would just kind of bring him food while he's up there at the slots. That was his thing. I think he was only 37, and he had a heart attack. And he was my second friend I had in my 30s that just kind of one day, we turn around and Nate's no longer there. Nate's in a forever box now. And it
Yeah.
just kind of hit hard for us because like we were not expecting that to happen. You don't expect like somebody that's younger than you to have a heart attack. And that was my
But
first.
was he was really overweight and stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he
See
was pushing
that
400. Like when I worked with him in his 20s, that was the most fit he ever got, was when he went down to 370 pounds.
yeah,
And
had a
that
friend.
was,
You ever heard of the Junior Chamber of Commerce?
I've heard of those, yes.
Okay, well, I was a member of the junior chamber, and I met lots of people. When I started getting interested in business and stuff like that, and I had gone to school to become a florist, things like that. So I was very active in the after hours, business after hours, things like that, to try to promote myself or whatever. Which most people that are in business, that's what you want to do. But there was a guy I met in that group, and he was the biggest guy I'd ever seen. I'd never seen one that big, but he was in a group of guys, other men that were big like him, and they called themselves the Rolling Thunder. Yeah, he passed away about maybe 10, 11 years ago or whatever, but he was really big, and they were all big like that. So it was not very, very healthy at all. And they drank heavily. It's another thing that isn't good and healthy for you. So,
I'm on day 2 of trying to be sober, and I've made it through the day and the night. I haven't touched a drink. I'm just doing this because I have a doctor's appointment on the 27th, and I'm going to clear my kidneys out before then.
well, that's good. Just drink
It's
a lot
not
of water
good.
and Gatorade, or I don't like Gatorade myself, but it's really good for supposedly for your kidneys and all that stuff, your bladder.
I have Tang. I'm
Oh,
happy with
Tang's good
Tang.
too. I love Tang.
I I know that sounds really bad because some versions of Tang, some of the fruity flavors just don't transfer well, and I will say that the Tang, you have to kind of get used to it, and I've never been able to not be used to it because that was just one of those drinks that I was given as a kid when I was growing up. When we were growing
My
up,
mom always covers Tang.
yeah, Tang was cheap, and they advertise it. Tang is what the astronauts drink. So you drink Tang, and if you're counting sodium or sugar, probably not a good idea to flip that jar of powder over to see how
Yeah,
much you're taking. But if you want a vitamin C source, I will say that Tang will happily take the top spot, except for like maybe Emergency, which is a dedicated vitamin C drink. Tang is kind of like a kid's baby's first sports drink, and
yeah.
I really like Tang. So
What was funny is I was in a space last week sometime, and we were talking about stuff, and I don't know why it came up, but someone said something about different chocolate drinks that they like, and I said that I didn't like chocolate, and they were like, "What?" And I said, "But I love Ovaltine," and then some of them were laughing at me because that was the way my mom got me to take some of my vitamins, was to get me to drink Ovaltine, because I don't like um, a lot of the stuff that other people like to eat when it comes to chocolate, a chocolate drink,
mhm.
stuff like that. But I like the Ovaltine. Did you ever drink that?
Ovaltine was the drink grandma gave me a lot when I was growing up because she could get a gallon. She could get one of these size containers. I'll have to pan
Oh
this.
yeah. Uh-huh.
This is Swiss Miss, but
Yeah, but the
get like
the
four
size,
pounds,
yeah, big.
4 pounds of Ovaltine. So I used to drink Ovaltine by volume.
But it even tasted good though. See,
It,
that's
it does. It does.
it was good, and it had lots of vitamins in it. And that's why my mom gave it to us. She had 5 kids, but she wanted to make sure that we were getting our vitamins. But well, let me know what you think of that picture when you see it. I'm really happy with it.
I'm looking for your. When did you send it?
The email,
Yes.
yeah, it was early in the show. It was today. It was, I replied to the one you sent me.
Okay, you replied to it? All
Yeah.
right.
So it should be in that. So it's usually easier to do it that way.
I'm just going to see where to put you by judging your sins and
That's the other video. Remember the one I told you I was going to make? I
Yep.
took wet with.
I can't wait to watch that.
It's so funny. You're going to love it. I cannot wait to make that video. I've been wanting to do it for like a month or so, thinking about it, but something comes up every weekend when I have to have someone help me do it. Because normally I do my own video, but the way I want to film this, I need somebody to be behind me and do it. And my sister's really good at helping. So, because that one I made, these boots are made for walking, she helped me with it. So, I do have somebody help me.
You're going to be on a chat here with Fat Steven Seagal here pretty soon.
You are?
You are?
No.
I thought you were saying you're. Oh wait, you're going to be with Drew.
Yeah, but tomorrow night I'm going to do a thing with Wes on what's cast or whatever. We're going to talk about this whole new thing that our presidents want to do with us. Whole people telling us what's bad for us and what's bad choices. Whole thing he's wanting to do. We're going to be talking about that tomorrow.
Okay, I didn't realize that was Wes Moody. The he used to have the Wes Moody webcast, but
Yeah,
now
but
he
got nuked.
Yeah, he had an
Nuked. So we've been trying to do some stuff. I went on it the other day just to talk about some stuff because we're trying to have like a membership drive or whatever you want to call it to help get his numbers back up again. And I like that kind of stuff. I love these conspiracy theory channels and stuff. You know, talk about I don't believe it's mostly conspiracy theory, but other people call it that. Because I believe a lot of that stuff. That political stuff. I really like it. I'm interested in it.
For those of you that want to know, the Whatever Cast is.
Oh, that's it. Whatever.
So if you want to see Janet tomorrow night talk with a group of individuals about current day situations, she will be available over there. On Wednesday night, I'll be on the Gatekeepers podcast, but I don't know where we're going to be hosting at yet. We'll see where that goes. Do you have any other stream plans for this week?
Nope. Okay. Not yet. That's it. Just my regular videos that I'm going to try to get done. Get up there.
Well, keep working at that. I am a fan of your TikTok work. And do you get a lot of interaction back on your Instagram?
Not really. Every so often I get one or two people that are, wanting to me to send them real pictures, stuff like that. And I'm like, no, I don't do that. Whatever. And they've sent me a few and I'm like, don't send me pictures like that, please. So that's basically what I get on Instagram.
Yeah. I can understand that.
But yeah, I was expecting TikTok to be the worst channel ever. You know what I mean? But I get the most compliments, and I've talked to a lot of really nice people, and I've had scammers on too that they always had the same thing. Hello, pretty. What are you doing today? And then they'll say, send me a picture. So I have a WhatsApp, but I don't use my real name or anything. I got a really fake one just for these people. And then I'll send them the picture I have on this picture right here, this avatar picture. And I'll send them that. Oh, what's this? And you said it was pretty. You said, hello, pretty. So you must have liked it. So I thought you'd want to have it. And they get all pissed off because it's not a real picture. And I said, you clicked on my profile and you said you thought I was pretty. This is the picture that's on there, and I'm not giving you a real picture of me, like that type of thing. And then they get all pissed off. So I just block them. But it's funny is because people send me their WhatsApp information over and over again. So I just copy it down, put it in my notes on my phone. And then when they ask someone gets on there, hey, send me your WhatsApp, I just send them one of these other random numbers that somebody sent me. So, I'm terrible, but I cannot stand, I can't stand scams. The people that they're trying to, because what they do when you send them a picture of your real picture, they make up another profile using that picture. That's how they get new ones that you can't see on 10i or one of those other facial recognition apps.
Okay.
Because they want a new picture to start another scam website. Whether you're a girl or a guy, doesn't matter. You don't talk to them, they're just chatting with you. But that's why I don't want my picture used, because what I normally do is when they first send me stuff, I'll say, well, send me a picture or send me a video of you saying, hello, Janet from another planet or whatever. And they say, I can't make a video. I'm not allowed to make videos at work. I go, but you're chatting on an app right now. So they always have an excuse. Then I had this one guy, it was so funny. One guy was like, you're really pretty, I'm in California. And I go, where in California? And he told me, and I said, I'm right down the street. Do you want to meet for lunch or whatever, and scare him. And he goes, well, can you send me some money on PayPal so I can buy gas? And I was like, no, because they're all scammers. All those people are scammers. So I'm getting really good at telling as soon as you add them and they instantly send you a message, and then you're pretty much going to be a scammer. Or they have 25, people following them. They're following 1,400. You know what I mean? So it's just terrible. I mean, it's just awful.
Followed by 3 people following 1,400.
Yeah.
Focus.
That's a sure giveaway about whatever. And then I have people from other countries, and if they says Gambia or whatever, then I don't even spend that much time on it, which is sad. But almost 90% of the people I've gotten messages from are wanting me to give them money, and I'm like, honey, I don't have any money, but if you want to send me some money, I'll take it. Whatever type stuff. So it's just sad that there's so many scammers out there. You can't trust anyone. You want to be friends with somebody, you want to make real friends, you can't.
No, can't do it.
Yeah, that's why I said it.
I hate Instagram, and a lot of times whenever I load up Instagram in the morning, there's like 13 messages from people that I've not interacted with. So I have to set my security a little tighter. And then one of them will be a friend of a friend of a friend, and I'll accept it out of just like, oh, I made a mistake here. Because within like 3 interactions, now they're, oh, I'm a soldier here in Gambia or in Nambia or in Ghana, and I have money. Well, maybe you should go to your first sergeant and get some dispersing taken care of. And it's just weird. These people are they're just begging. That's all it is internet begging.
Yeah. And what's sad though is that people feel sorry for some of these people, and they send them money, and then next thing you know, they got their numbers and they drain their account.
That is true.
That. Yeah, so it's really sad. But there was a guy, I think it was called the Red Hat something. He does a YouTube channel, and he does like reviews and different things like that. Well, I remember following him on Instagram a while back, and then all of a sudden I get a new thing saying get a new follower, and I look, and it's that same guy, and he's saying stuff like, oh, my account got hacked, and I need to verify me so that I can log back in and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, why are you asking me? He goes, well, because you follow me and blah, blah, blah. And I said, yeah, but I don't really know enough about you to verify you. And I said, give me a minute. So then I went through, and I went to Twitter, and I took snapshots from what this guy was saying to me, and I sent them to the real guy on Twitter that I actually have, interaction with, and said, this guy is saying he's you on Instagram. And he goes, don't reply. My Instagram got hacked, and I haven't used it in this much time or whatever, so don't reply. So I said, okay, well, I'll report it. So I reported it, and he was like so thankful that I didn't help him. And then I started sending messages to the other people that I followed or I had interaction with that I saw were following this guy, because this guy already had like 40 something people following him. That because everybody it's assumed it was the same person, but it wasn't. Because I'm real suspicious. I don't trust anything. And since he talked to me, I was like, yep, he opened himself up to where I'm going to investigate, and got him kicked off. So, oh well, that's what happens. Because I don't trust people. But I can't help it.
No, what Squeak had just said. I send random internet begging for cheese and tea.
Oh, that is funny. Well, I didn't see it. I have to go back on my phone again and try to open it up. There it is. Yeah, it just popped up.
I've enjoyed tonight's chat. For those of you that are out there still with us, and I really appreciate all 7 of you that are on the couple of platforms we're streaming on. I do want to say thank you for sticking around all the way to the end. This has been a fun chat. I've got some paint on miniatures that wasn't there before, which I'm very happy about. I actually finished a couple, which I'm really happy about. But I'm keeping my 1-for-1 every day that this year is. I'm going to have 365 finished figures by the end of the year. And Janet.
Yes.
Janet, what is your next art project that you're working on?
Right now, the one I'm working on is a Star Trek picture. I don't want to say exactly what's in it until I get to reveal the whole thing. But it's the deal with Star Trek. It's my first one I ever made that I special ordered to make from Star Trek. So I'm excited about it. And then I'll take it and my Suicide Squad poster that I already made. I'll take both of these and have them framed and stuff, and then I'll see what I'm going to do with them.
It sounds like a pretty nice hobby you have there.
I love it. It's very relaxing. I think it's probably as relaxing for me to do this. I think about it when I get stressed out. God, I need to go home, work on my picture. Whatever's next. But man, I got a couple really good ones. I've ordered a Doctor Strange, which I love. He's one of my favorite characters. And I ordered a couple of DC, Superman, Wonder Woman, stuff like that characters. And then I've ordered a unicorn one because I like fantasy stuff too. And then I've got Rocky the Raccoon. There's a bunch of random ones that I've been going through. And now I'm still wanting to order some logos because I get a discount if I order like 6 of them. And then I have to have good pictures to send in so they can match the colors for the rhinestones and stuff to put on the canvas. But I haven't gotten Comics Division's picture yet because I wanted to make his Sir Talks a Lot. I want to make I was going to make Culture Casinos and Drew's, now that he's got his new logo finally ready, and he sent me one in the email, because if they send me a really good picture instead of me trying to take a snapshot from their YouTube channel, it just won't turn out very good unless they send me their picture. So, but if they don't send it to me, I can't send off for it, so I'll have to pick somebody else because he keeps telling me he's going to remember to send it, but he hasn't. So I really wanted to do his. I've got Odin's. I'm going to do Odin's and, ones that I've already had lined out that I was going to get because I already did. Let's see, I did Gary's. I did one for Doomcock. I did one for Az. I did one for Geeks and Gamers and RK Outpost. And I thought there was one other, but maybe I only did 5 so far. But I have some plans to do them because normally in between each of my big pictures that I do a logo. Because they're all 12 by 12 inches. That's what I worked out a deal to get that size made. And those are the ones I want to do next. Oh, and King Dolphin TV wants me to make him one too. But he hasn't sent me a picture because he can't decide if he wants which one of his logos he wants me to make. So that's what I do in between.
That sounds like a very healthy mind that gets a chance to relax and gets to focus.
Hmm.
I'm looking forward to seeing your next bits of work because I looked at your video you did where you had the little miniatures underneath each of their portraits. I'm like, yeah, she's got talent for that.
It
You
turned out
also,
really good. I was so excited. Sorry.
you're a talented artist, and I'm going to talk with a friend of mine about this because you've got some artwork that we haven't really seen a whole lot elsewhere in the fandom. The dippled artwork that you do, that seems to always be something that you are. It's fascinating to see the finished product.
Yeah, because it's little pixels. It's like if you take a picture and you zoom in on a digital picture, they're little pixels, they're little squares. And that's basically what I do. I take rhinestones and I put them on the canvas, glue them down, and then I decoupage it. And then I cut a mat for it and frame it myself with a recycled frame, or I'll take it if it's a special size, and I'll take it and have it framed, which costs a little bit more. But I only make one. Like this one picture. That's why I'm saying, oh, I hope I can part with it because I absolutely love Star Wars, but I don't really have any place on any wall in my house to put a picture on. So I don't know. We'll have to see what I do with it. But I love making them. And the whole thing that inspired me to start doing more of these comic book characters and stuff instead of what I have, other pictures that I've done, is because I heard Gary talking about wanting to open a comic book shop in Texas where he moved. And if he does, I was going to take some of my nicer pieces and ask him if he would want to sell them in his comic book shop. And if he says yes, and I tell him how much I want for it, and he can sell it for whatever he wants or whatever he thinks he can get for it, then I would do nothing but commission. I'd make them and take them to him, and only sell them in his shop and on my Etsy page, which I'm working on. So that would be really cool to be able to do that and just have one place, and I drive there and drop them off, and see what happens. That would be awesome. But I don't know how long that'll be, or if he's even going to do that or not. Because if he gets bigger and bigger, probably not going to have time to do that. So it just depends. But that would be cool to just sell in one place somewhere. Because I used to have some of my work in a gallery, but the gentleman he had a lot of health issues, and I think he passed away because I took a bunch of my stuff. I took all my stuff out basically to do for an art walk, and when I went back to take it, it was closed, and I'm like, "What's going on?" So I kept calling and calling. And finally, they said, "Well, he closed the business because of his health or something like that." So I'm like, "Great, now I got to start over again." So it's, oh well, that just gives me something else to work on.
I'm going to keep in touch with you over Discord over the next
Mhm.
few days, and if you need anything, give me a text or shoot me an email or contact me somehow. Uh,
Okay.
for, for those of you in the chat, for those of you that were sticking with us to the end, Squeaka, Shadow and Sun, Parrothead, everybody that's here, Zachrot, hey buddy, um, really appreciate you guys showing up for this. We are having a communication between us, but we're really talking about the things we really enjoy, and having you here makes it worth it. I know I'm a small channel. I know I probably shouldn't reveal so much about my character because a lot of my character attributes, like I get angry too much at like things like current events, news, stuff like that. Shouldn't get upset. Should just plan ahead. But I really appreciate you guys having patience with me as I've grown on this little journey that I'm on. And me and Janet will be back here doing the same stream, but our focus next week will be the movie, the Kirk Douglas classic, The Final Countdown. And I look forward to everybody being ready to go, being here, and ready to scratch some zeros. I thank you so much, every one of you, and we will see you next Monday.
Bye bye.